Hello, everybody. Everyone. Hello, everyone. If you can hear me, please say pink puff. Pink puff. You guys remember those? We'll see those in about the year 2080. Flan. Okay. We have some localizers in here. We have people from different backgrounds. Different, I don't know, console nationalities. All right, good. We got some people in here listening. All right, so we're back. This is stream 6, I think. It's going to be, well, it's just me right now, but Poe will come in later and help. We're doing our Final Fantasy IV translation comparison again. And we just finished getting the hovercraft. We got Edward in our party. Today, we're going to go to, well, I want to go back to Kaipo and buy some items and things. And then I want to go to the Antlion Cave. We'll clear that place out and do all those scenes. And we'll go back and rescue Rosa. And that'll have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. But then after that comes a strangely forgettable but important scene where Edward has to fight and prove his courage to his ghost girlfriend. It's really strange and interesting. We'll look at that in a bit. I don't think we're going to go to Mount Hobbs today, but if we do, that would be cool. I don't think we'll beat Mount Hobbs at least. So that's the plan for today. Before we get started, I thought it would be good to take a look at what we're actually looking at. The Super NES translation doesn't need any introduction because it's the official release, but the J2E fan translation and the Naming Way translation are probably not as obvious. It's not clear what they are or what their purpose was, so I'm going to cover that real quick. All right, so these patches, they come with README files, and you can read through them yourself. I'll just read a little bit here from the J2E file. This was released approximately in 1998, so about 7 years after the official release happened. And this is probably a year, maybe 2 years after emulators started to get good and you could actually play Super NES games on PCs. That's why there was such a big burst in FF4 hacking and ROM translating and stuff. All right, so we'll skip a lot of the details of the J2E README for now, but we'll look at this important section. Part 2, why retranslate? Why would we retranslate a game already translated here in North America? Simple. Squaresoft did a horrible job translating this game. They had used bad English and had censored out many important parts of the story that were in the Japanese scripts. Also, FF2 US was taken off of FF4J Easy Type, which was a lot easier than the hard type version, which is what we translated. Also in the easy type version, many things, like items and stuff, were censored out. But with this translation, you get everything that was originally meant to be in FF4, including the ever-famous porno mag. So, like I mentioned, this J2E used to be a bunch of AOL people, just hanging around maybe on AOL chat rooms back in the day. They're probably in their mid-teens at this time. Eventually, they coalesced to this J2E translation. They kind of were all competing, I guess, but they kind of came into one. And the vibe that I get is very much, like a kid from that era. This section here is full of its own typos and mistakes. It's kind of ironic, I guess. All right, so that's what they're going for. It looks like they're they sucked. The official version sucked. They censored stuff out, but now you're going to get everything that was in it, including porn mags. They're really judgmental about it, and very strong-willed about we're doing it the right way. We're going to do it the right way. Okay, so that's J2E. Now the Naming Way README. I'll have to make this big because this is kind of small for me. Let me get this bigger. All right, so the Naming Way edition README file. This patch debuted in 2015. I looked it up finally. It was kind of hard to find details. All right, so what is the purpose of this hack, basically, is why I'm reading this. Final Fantasy IV Naming Way edition. The original purpose of this hack is to bring the names of things within Project 2 closer to Square Enix's current naming of spells, items, monsters, and the like. So Project 2 was a hack that was meant to enhance the experience, a lot of quality of life improvements and bug fixes and stuff, but it was never meant as a translation replacement. And so I think this naming way was built off of Project 2 to try to build a better translation. But from what this is saying is more to bring the names of things into what Square Enix currently does officially with things. So from what I'm reading from this first line, the point of this patch is names, and that's a big thing, especially if you don't know how to translate. You'll focus on names and single words. Like fans will focus, hyper focus on single words, single names, and judge the full translation quality based on just names alone. So what we're seeing here is that name focus. Okay, because of space limitations, some things are abbreviated. In addition, all enemies have had their stats reverted to their more powerful Japanese Final Fantasy IV counterparts, and the final boss has his original battle script. Also, Rosa and Rydia have their original spell acquisition rates. B button dash is also added, but you must hold B before you move in order for it to work if you are on the world map. It works as intended in towns and dungeons. Also, holding B while in an airship will slow you down to help landing in tough spots like Troya. While in battle, pressing X will skip a character's turn, and pressing select will switch between max HP and ATB percentage. Alright, so that's like the first main paragraph. Then there's one extra line. In addition to renaming, many parts of the script were rewritten to better match the original Japanese and modern translations. Thanks. And thanks has no punctuation. Right, so that's the deal with the naming way edition. So it looks like they're focused more on the naming of things, and also again like the well, I guess both versions like took so much out. We need to undo all the stuff that was taken from us. So if they hadn't changed anything back in 1991 officially, a lot of these fan translations probably wouldn't have followed this trajectory, I guess. They would have focused on other things maybe. Anyway, as we can see, there's like two different philosophies that are happening with J2E and the naming way. Okay, so it seems like naming way is less about trying to stick to the translation, but it's still like carrying a little bit. So that's the deal with that. Hopefully that helps explain what's going on. All right, let's move on to the game here. Do I have anything else to show here? Nope, nothing there, nothing there. Anything else I have to say? Oh yeah, let me go back to that. So when I'm in this section here, this is, I guess I call this like the intro zone. What I decided I want to do is, a lot of people have questions during the stream while I'm focusing, and I'll miss it. So what I would like to do is, if you have a question in the chat, put BBQ before it. Then after the stream, what I'll do is I'll look through the Twitch chat, and then I'll bring up any like relevant questions on the following intro. Hopefully that makes sense, and it'll clear up a lot of questions, hopefully. Also, if you have questions for things that are coming up in the upcoming stream, like the next one or maybe the next couple ones, also you can do the BBQs there and I'll catch it in time, hopefully. But don't do it for like something that's 100 years away. All right, so there's that. And then, yeah, okay, that's good. Let's go to the game. All right, so we're 13 hours in. And get some water. Seems those intros dry me out. Where's this? Okay, we're gonna go back to Kaipo, because I want to buy some items with all of that money that I glitched. There is one thing I want to mention. The way we've been looking at all the translations in such detail, right? You probably don't normally see that. So that's what happens when a translator is talking about a translation, and so you kind of want translators to talk about translations and not outsiders tasting the final product. Outsiders who don't really know how translation works. So a very common thing that you'll get, it's almost like a sign that they don't know translation at all. Maybe they're monolingual. Is they'll call a translation dry. It's almost like the go-to sign of they don't really know what they're talking about. So maybe sometimes it will be legitimately dry, but that's kind of like, I guess if you're eating food and you don't like it and you don't know how to complain about it, you might say something like that too. I don't know. Alright, so like I said, we're going to go to Kaipo now. We're going over the shoals using the hovercraft. So now we're going to Kaipo. I did an item duplication glitch yesterday. I got like 150,000 gil. It's not as much as I would like, so I need to properly figure out how to do that again. It's been a while since I've done those. I want to buy potions and things. That's basically why I'm here. Where's the potion shop? Oh yeah, it's in here. Right. The old lady's in the way. Okay, here we go. How many potions do I have? I don't want to like buy way too much, so I'm gonna buy like 70 potions. Try to like buy 70 of everything. That way, if anything, I don't want stuff to cross the 99 barrier. That'll mess up my inventory. If you press X while you're on this number here, you can increase it. It took me 100 years to figure that out. Okay. Wow, that's pretty good. Only 2100 gil for 70 potions. Oh, wow. Okay, for Phoenix Downs. Okay, so this trick I did is pretty good. I'm just gonna buy a bunch of everything. I got a whole lot of tents now. I probably didn't need those either. Alright. Got a whole lot of items. I might have to restack a couple of them. It's weird how this game system works. The weirdness of this game inventory is what opens it up to so much like glitching and exploits. They were still figuring this stuff out, I guess. I think a lot of these things, a lot of these glitches, you won't find them in ports necessarily because they're reprogrammed from scratch, a lot of them. I saw some people in YouTube comments wondering like, why couldn't I get that to work? So you gotta do it with these old ones. The old ones are rich in glitch. Alright, I got all that. Put that antidote over there. While I'm here, is there any interesting items to talk about? Looks like not. I'll continue. Alright, now we're gonna go to the Antlion Cave. It's kind of nice feeling to have all those items and I don't have to worry for probably the rest of the game for a bunch of them. If you see the little book icon, here I can just bring it up real quick. If you see this little book icon, it means that there's probably a change has happened. So I can look at easy type here, and you can see that they added they removed this space here in easy type. It's weird. Easy type would just kind of do stuff like that sometimes. And something happened there in the J2E, I don't know. But basically it helped me look at like the different revisions. Some of that code actually comes out straight out like Wikipedia's open source code. That's the fun thing about this, is I can just kind of look around what scripts exist, what have people made, and how can I apply that to video game analysis. There was one time where we took Zelda 2, and I had this Wonder Bar thing on there, and then so we had everyone in the chat voice one line, and then as you play through the game, there'd be voice acting when you talk to someone. You can do all kinds of neat things with this. I call this the Wonder Bar. Alright. There's a safe state there. Oh, you might have noticed that the leaderboard is a little different from where I left it last night. And that's because it was pointed out to me that I accidentally reduced a point from Super NES when I should have reduced it from J2E, so I've fixed that. Currently it's -46, 14, -40. Alright, we now entered a cave. This is the Antlion Cave. In Japanese, here it says just Antlion Cave. That means Antlion, underground first floor. So this cave is technically just called Antlion, I guess. Does it show up in there? Nah. Antlion is too cool of a word for this dictionary, I guess. So this cave technically is called Antlion. I think that's what I was mixing up with something earlier a couple days ago. I wanted to call this cave Antlion, but you can see in Super NES this became Antlion B1F, which is pretty much straight up what it was in Japanese. Antlion basement floor 1. Again, basement is so weird for Chikaikai. Sometimes it'll work, but not in this case. Like if you're in a department store. But Antlion basement floor, I don't know. Well, it used to be just, oh, they put a space after there, okay. And then the naming way that became Antlion Cave, that one's actually probably closer to what was intended. But if we look at the Japanese, it's just Antlion. But the Japanese had a width spaces, text space limitations as well. It's weird. The whole world of everything is weird sometimes like that. Alright, so now I'm just walking around in this cave for a little while. We're going to be walking around, getting treasures, and fighting battles. Not a whole lot of talking for about 30 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. Alright, so we got some potion item in here. Uh-oh. Alright. Enemies here aren't too bad. Okay, so here's the yellow jellies. Let me look at these. Alright, so we looked earlier, and we saw that the red marshmallow enemies from the watery cave, we saw how their names changed. But the important thing was that the color is important. The color is here for a reason. And it's not obvious at first that they've set up a system where the color of the enemy denotes its weakness. And when you remove that color element from the text, it also further takes that little, like, I don't know, notification a little bit away. Most people will probably never notice this stuff. But anyway, so yellow's zeri. Yellow zeri is technically like the English word yellow, and like jelly is zeri. So that's what that is. That became just simply cream in Super NES. It became yellow jelly in J2E and yellow jelly in Naming Way without the O in there due to space problems. Alright, so what this yellow means is if we hit these guys with lightning, they'll be weak to that. They're weak, they're pretty strong against anything else. Like physical attacks, you don't want to hit them with physical attacks, it's one hit. Like 1 damage only. So we're going to do some thunder. Alright, now they're gone. 1 hit death. I'm calling floors and caves as floors. I like that. But calling it a basement is strange to me. Alright, we got some gil, we got some experience. What if I hooked it up so that, like, I had channel points and then every time I got experience, everyone gets that many channel points? Is that even a thing? Alright, we're fighting a new enemy here. We're fighting 3 goblins and something called, in Japanese, a domo boy. And it's not clear what domo boy means. Boy by itself usually means boy, like in English, and domo is not really clear what that could be. But we later learned through the internet and Wikipedia and our increased connection with the rest of the world through the internet that this is I think it's a Russian folktales monster, domo boy maybe. Okay, so domo boy in the Japanese. In the easy type, it became Goburin Kyapu. So it seems to be short for Goblin Captain, and it does seem to be leading them. But it's literally just Goblin Cap. I don't think it's going to be a hat that you wear, but okay. So in Super NES, Domo Boy became Imp Cap, period. So I guess the Captain, I don't know, abbreviation has survived into Super NES from the easy type, maybe. In J2E, Domo Voy, Domovoi. That used to be Domo Boy, yeah, so the early patches, J2E, they didn't know what to do with Domo Boy either. And but then at some point they did. Between 1998 and 2001, they noticed and discovered what it should be, and they changed it. So that gives you a good time, like a time frame of when like the translation world was slightly evolving and improving. And naming way, Domo Voy, Domovoi. All right. There's some trivia, I guess. Good things to know. But like without the internet, you never would have known how to do Domo Boy unless you happen to have like a really rich knowledge of other cultures, folklores. The internet has changed a lot of things. I'll just do Onkoku here. Yeah, Easy Type was done to like help introduce younger players to the genre and the game. It like kind of took out a bunch of mechanics and simplified a lot of the text. And the Easy Type was developed probably right alongside the Super NES version. We've been starting to see some like similarities between them. So Japan got a dumbed down version too, just like we did, but it wasn't the main one. Alright, another chest in this cave has the Kumo no Ito, and that's like a spider thread. Like literally, Kumo is spider and Ito is thread. That item doesn't exist in Super NES, so it just comes out as dummy. In the actual data, if you looked, it would be spelled dummy. If you could somehow get that item. Alright, J2E, spider web. That's fine, spider web is... Kumo no Ito is pretty common for a spider web. Maybe it's even in here. Kumo no Ito. Maybe I can highlight it. Oh no, I highlighted everything else. Kumo no Ito. Does that work? No. Okay. But anyway, spider web is fine. Web for Ito is usually fine. Naming Way calls it silk web, which doesn't make it clear that it's a spider item. I kind of would like that spider. I would have liked that spider name in there. I'm going to take a point off just because that's my personal preference. Knowing that it's spider, like silk could be from anything, you know? And if you looked at the, like a lot of the Japanese guides and Japanese magazines and Japanese other resources, they'll have item drawings. There's like concept art. Maybe there's a spider involved if you looked at the Japanese concept art. Oh, Cecil's dying, but I better not use that attack anymore. I'm gonna do, oh, I need to change that. I need to give her the ice rod, and then we'll use the ice rod on this guy. And then we'll kill the imp, hopefully. Edward can't even kill an imp. What a weakling. Yowamushi. Okay, we're doing another ice rod on this. We're fighting... I should probably look at this guy. Oh. I accidentally killed it and then, like, said it had no name, so I have to look at that name again. But we're fighting a weird turtle. Alright, I got all those potions, so I'm okay. So the Kumo no Ito, let's look at this item. That's a spider web, spider thread. That became, oh yeah, that became dummied in the easy type too because that was removed. And the J2E says that it slows down all targets. Naming Way says slows enemy down. So here we again have a plural singular disconnect. Which one is it? Does it do all or just one? Naming Way seems to imply one. J2E seems to imply all. I mean, it does say all, so we're gonna test that out, and whoever messes up this game mechanic will lose a point. They didn't even need to add this, so they're losing points by adding. Like, they're taking that risk, you know? Do that healing. Gotta keep healing Cecil over here. We're just like chugging potions. Alright. And we're continuing to explore this little cave over here. This little section over here, like, somehow it just feels like nice and familiar to me. So we're fighting some more yellow jellies. I'm just going to do some more of the thunder on them. One-shot them. I don't want to use the slow item on this guy, because these guys are easy. I want to use the slow item on maybe a harder guy. Gilbert leveled up. Alright, we have a tent in this box. Alright, okay, we're fighting two of those weird turtle monsters. They look kind of scary and they have big old jaws and fangs coming out at us. Alright, in Japanese these are called adamantaimai. Adamantaimai. So we're getting the idea that there's an adamantium-ness to it, you know, like that kind of really hard mineral or alloy. Adamantaimai. I'm not really sure what taimai could be. Oh wait, here we go. A hawksbill turtle. So it's like an adamantium taimai. Taimai is a type of turtle. Species Eretmochelis imbricata. I'm sure everyone knows what that is. I would have been able to read that kanji. So taimai is a type of turtle, you guys. And we're fighting them. Alright. That just became turtle in Super NES. That just lost all life, you know? I don't like this one on Super NES. It lost all life. They put a lot of creativity into this Japanese name, right? At least it's just like a basic pun. Basic wordplay. It becomes turtle. It became adamantium, just adamantium in J2E. And then it became adamantimi in naming way. I would have liked some kind of turtley things, but even because like I didn't really know what was going on with it, I can't fault them for that. But now we know taimai is a type of specific type of turtle in Japanese. Let me look at that kanji. That kanji looks kind of fun. Oh, that kind of looks fun. I'm gonna have to remember that sometime and then never use it. When you're a translator, that's what happens. You learn all kinds of crazy things, like all stuff from every field of knowledge, and then you will never use them except for maybe like one random time, 20 years later. I guess maybe that's how life just is. All right, let's kill these adamantites. All right, now I want to do actual blizzard on both of them. Let's see how the spell does better than the item, maybe. Very good. If we had tried the item blizzard on them, it probably would have been halved, right? I guess we could try that out next time. Oh, I gotta use that item still. Alright, another chest down this weird road. There is a potion. Alright, now we're kind of backtracking, going a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go over here and get another item. Not until we get into a fight. We're fighting 2 more adamantites, so I want to try that spider thing now. So remember, J2E says all enemies in naming way. Its wording is ambiguous, but it says enemy. So we're just going to take it at its face value and say it means singular. Okay, it does all of the enemies. It's going to slow them all. Let's try it out. See what happens. Kumo no Ito. We're using the spider web now. Yeah, it does slow the slow split to all the enemies. I'm gonna take off a point in a second for naming way getting that ambiguous when it was unnecessary to even put that info in there. After I do this battle. Right. Battle complete. Naming way going down 1 point. Oh, we got an antidote. Oops, I went kind of the wrong way. I gotta go over here now. Yeah, yesterday we barely got to actually play the game. We were just sitting there talking. We were sitting there doing that whole scene in Damcyan Castle. I looked at it. It was almost 2 hours, just that entire scene that has the Spoony Bird. Spoony Bird was just one line, but the whole scene took us 2 hours to go through. And we're gonna have so many more scenes like that. It's gonna be rough. Alright. Got another potion. Again, a lot of these chests are different in Easy type and Super NES. Let's go here and then. Alright. Man, Edward's no good. Gilbert. Man, those. They only did like 9 damage, but that's enough to kill an imp, I guess. Alright, come on, this is your chance, Edward. You can be strong. You gotta be strong, Gilbert. You can do it. Okay, I should look at that enemy next time. I'm sorry. Look at that enemy. Enemy names are always kind of fun to look at. Alright, so we have another gold needle in this item box. Alright, now we're gonna go downstairs. I guess there's stairs in this cave, so maybe it's kind of been I don't know, been taken care of. There's construction that's happened in here. And there's boxes. I wonder what the deal is. Where did all these boxes come from? Is this maybe the ruins of an ancient civilization and we're just digging up their potions? Alright, so now we're in the underground 2nd floor. J2E again calls it basement floor 2. The basement's kind of weird. If you say just B2F, that's okay, I kind of feel. Basement just feels weird, but it does, like I said, have some kind of construction going, so maybe it's okay. Okay, so we found another non-kyoku no kaze, which is a South Pole wind, literally. Antarctic wind. Alright, now we're going inside a little room. And in this room is a treasure chest. I remember, I think this is one of his harps, right? So center slot in the original Japanese gets an accuracy bonus, wow. Yeah, I don't care about Edward that much. I don't want him to die. Alright, so we have a, in this special chest, we have a Lamia, Lamia no Tategoto. So like a Lamia harp. Lamia is like one of those like cultural words that they like to use in Final Fantasy and other such. In these Japanese entertainment, Lamia seems to suggest or indicate some kind of like snake woman. I don't remember what the actual like original source material ever means. Yeah, the Japanese entertainment writers, they'll kind of take religious culture, religious names and concepts just from around the world and kind of just adapt them and squish them into their own games. That's how this is going here. So this became just the charm harp, I guess, in Super NES. Because I guess the Lamias could like seduce you, something like that. J2E became Lamia harp, so that's the full word there. And naming way it became Lamia, and then with a harp icon probably. I won't, again, like certain names I don't care too much about. Alright, let's put this on him. We went from the Dreamer harp, or the Dream harp, not Dreamer, to the Lamia. Increases his attack by 10. Okay, so the Lamia harp, in the easy type, it became the Ayashi no Tategoto. Ayashi is kind of like, it gives me the feeling of like fairies, like kind of like the kinds of fairies that will like do tricks on you and mess with you. Ayashi. Is it in here at all? Darn, I don't think my thing will bring it up just because of the dumb HTML layout here. Ayasu na Ayashi. Okay, my dictionary there doesn't have it, but that's what that is. Lamia harp used to be just Lamia in J2E. For some reason I want to believe there's another item in here, or like a special enemy in that room, but I don't know. Okay, so we've exited that room, we're back out into a main chamber. We're still looking around for like chests and stuff. Look at this chest over here. Getting some pretty good RNG in this cave today. Alright, we got a copper hourglass, and that was dummied out of various versions. I put this harp away. And then, yeah, okay. Actually, what did that become? Oh yeah, it got dummied out of easy type. No, never mind. Now we're gonna go into this little side path to get some more items. And also there's a save in here. Alright, we're back onto the first floor. Then we're in a battle. Alright, 2 goblins and an Adamant Taimai. Alright, come on Gilbert, now you have a new harp. You can do it. Good, okay, good. It's gonna I killed that imp, that goblin. We're doing the ice rod on the Adamant Taimai, but it didn't die. Once Cecil finish it. Finish him. Final Fantasy IV Mortal Kombat. And we're going into this little room where I think there's a save room in here. Well, also I should mention that the different versions of this game will have these save spots. They'll look a little different. This is how it looked originally. It looks like a magical thing, but it also kind of reminds me of just like a campfire that's unlit. But you just stand on it. We've already looked at all that text, so we won't look at it now. There's 3 chests in this room though. We're gonna look at those first. So we have a Phoenix down here. We have an Ether one here. And a Hijoguchi in this other one. Hijoguchi means emergency exit. Like, you know, if you're just in Japan and you're in a big building and you see a sign, it'll probably say Hijoguchi. And you don't want to go out that way normally, it'll cause alarms to go off. Alright, yeah, Hijochi emergency exit. This item will take you immediately out of a cave. So I think it's kind of meant for you to use it after you finish this cave, or if you think you're in trouble and need to get out right now. This item doesn't exist in the Super NES version or the Easy Type, so this kind of, the game designers were kind of being nice and friendly here, originally. They're like, man, if it's too tough here, you might need this. Because this was taken out, we don't have that benefit in Super NES. You just have to slog your way out, or use the spell if you know how to use that weird spell. All right, I've found dummy Super NES. Received emergency exit J2E, and then naming way calls it emerge exit. Let's look at the item in here. This item actually has a description. Most of the items in this game do not have descriptions, but the usable items do. And since this is a usable item, it says Chijo ni wapu shimasu, and that means warp to above ground or warp to the overworld. Alright, so that became in Super Famicom. Well, first we can see, because this was taken out of the Easy Type version, it's just called dummy. However, the description text still exists in the Easy Type data, and so I pulled that out. It's the same text, but it had some text change. It just had a space removed. So it's weird that like text that never gets used and was like kind of super dummied out still exists, and it was kind of edited. Anyway, Super NES, we see it says dummy because it doesn't have a name, and D is because of the dummied out description. That's how they would take out the description text and save space. They would have to put something for a description, and they would just put a D in there. Okay, emergency exit in J2E was called exit door originally in '98, and it would say warp to surface. Warp to surface is good. And then the description today now says escape from dungeon, which isn't exactly what it says, but I don't care here. Naming way, emerge, exit, instantly escape from dungeon. Maybe those are coming from something else, I don't know. You can see the difference in this, but because it's gameplay stuff, I don't really want to mess with that. So I'll just leave that. You can see my scoring system is very arbitrary and attuned to me. So if you would like to do your own point system and keep tally as you go along, let me know how your system is working. I was thinking it might be nice to have if we had separated the scores a little bit to like removed content count, an added content count, and a mistranslation content count. Having them separated would have maybe been better, and things would be clearer. As it is, it's all kind of mixed in there now. But we didn't know that going in, so maybe in the future. Do a save state just in case. Now we're exiting the save room. We're gonna go downstairs back into like the big chamber area. There's a couple more items over here that we want to get. Alright, let me look at this item. This enemy over here, we're fighting 3 imps and like a weird horned lizard thing. It's real big and has a big long tongue, big eyes, and some horns. So it's called a basilisk in Japanese, bajirisku. I actually worked on a Japanese anime TV show professionally like 20 years ago called Basilisk. It was about ninjas. And it was very eye related because, you know, if you look at the basilisk eye, you turn into stone. That show was it was a really cool show. Check it out if you haven't. Basilisk. It became Basilisk everywhere. Hooray. But the Easy Type called it something else. So let's see what it's called in Easy Type. Sekika Tokage. So it's like the petrification lizard. There's Sekika in here. Maybe if I hover over it a certain way. Sekika. No, okay. But Sekika is like change into stone lizard. This is what that is, Tokage. Tokage has some funny kanji. Like stone dragon child is one. Kanji is fun. Once you understand how it works. I need to explain kanji properly. They teach it so poorly in classes, at least when I was learning. They taught it so poorly. That's what is good about games, good about time, the passage of time. You can improve. I'm gonna see if I can charm this basilisk. Nope. I don't remember what it's weak against, so let me see what it's weak against. I'm gonna try thunder. Alright, definitely not gonna be thunder weakness. Alright, we're still walking over here, getting this chest. I think this is another spider web, if I recall. Yeah, it's another Kumo no Ito. I don't think there's any more over there. There might not be any more now. Okay, we're fighting some new enemies. So these, we're fighting what look like, are like Medusa-looking things, except they seem to be kind of ghastly. Maybe, I don't know, they seem like they're kind of some ghostly spirit apparition-y things looking too. But anyway, they're spooky. I might call them banshees at first glance, but anyway, these are called reishi in Japanese. Reishi. And I don't remember what that is. There was a whole meaning behind it. I wish I remembered what lace, like, you would think that this is word lacy. This is why J2E has lacy hair. Leshy, possibly, as it says the naming way. Super NES calls it weeper. I don't know why it would be that. Okay, so someone in the chat says, I know Leshism. They're more Slavic folklore, forest spirits. Leshies, yeah, I know what leshies are, but I don't know if that's what these are. That would be, like, that's the closest that I can think of. I'll look into that and I'll talk about it maybe next time if I remember. Let me write that down on this piece of paper here. Okay, I'll look into that and I'll tell you about it tomorrow. All right. So, but anyway, so these leshi, the spelling is kind of strange to begin with in Japanese. The easy type, they became Lady Plum. So like Lady Plum. I don't know why they would call them Lady Plum. My feeling is probably there's going to be Lady Plum, maybe like a Lady Chrysanthemum, Lady something else later, like a palette swaps of these enemies, these female looking Medusa monsters. All right. Sometimes enemy names like this, it's just like you don't know. It's not really clear. And back in the day, especially if you didn't have like Wikipedia, if you didn't have fan sites, oh my gosh, I gotta say this. Fan sites, if you're a fan of something and you have like, if you really like it and you want to share it with the world, the best thing you can do is document it, I think. So like, if you start your own like Final Fantasy IV wiki, you don't have to actually do that. There's probably a whole bunch already. But just by adding to those things, you're adding to knowledge that people like me in the professional world, even just as in the fan world, professional world, having that extra info is good. Of course, like every Wikipedia, you don't take it and just run with it. You have to double, triple check everything. But having fans help with that stuff, oh my gosh, I can't explain it. It's like a whole new. It's like you've leveled up 20 levels as a translator, thanks to fans. So if you're a fan and you've been working on Wikipedias or your own wikis, keep at it. Do a good job. Try to get the junk out of there. There's some junk in old Final Fantasy IV wikis that slowly is getting erased because it was wrong to begin with. So try to find that good info. It's super good, especially really, really long series. It's really good. All right, let me continue. I forget where we're going with all this discussion, so let's fight these lacies now. Like, someday, if they ever do a translation of Mother 3 officially, they're gonna love documentation that all the fans have done. If you had to do it with all that documentation, it would be rough and there'd be mistakes and continuity errors. Uh-oh, I think there's a woodpecker pecking on my door outside, or my wall outside. Every day we're fighting nature on this stream. Okay, Ice Rod still doesn't work on this. Lacy. We beat them. Gilbert leveled up. I don't think there's any more treasure chests to find here, but I'm gonna put this Kumo no Ito down here. And then I'll do some potions. I always wanted there to be something. I'll just point out, I don't want to walk over there, but I always wanted there to be something here. I don't think there's anything there, right? Alright, while I'm here, I'm just going to go walk over there, but I have to take this long way. It's kind of annoying. Alright, more basilisks and goblins. We'll take these guys out pretty fast. I'll just do Ankoku a lot. And I got my potions, so we'll be good. Ice Rod against this guy. We'll try that again. I already forget. Not good. Come on, Gilbert. Edward. Alright, he did a good job. Good job, Gilbert. I'll give you that sound effect. Alright. Like, I don't think you can walk in here. Ah, yeah, you can't walk in there. There's something down here that's pretty weird. Where is this? There's like a... Yeah, here's like a... You can't see this. This is one of those hidden pathways. You can see it in easy type, I think, and you can see it in the Super NES version, but it's clearly like just not, it is not visible in any way in Japanese originally. The original version. Alright, more lacies. All over here, I'm gonna figure out... I'll try Thunder. Okay, we killed one lacy here. Not too bad. I don't think there's a weakness in there though. What I could do is, during battles, I could also have a thing where it'll show their stats or something. That was the thing I used to do a lot. I probably can just pull the code out of my old code. It's really nice being able to just pull old code and files and stuff off of the shelf after you've done like fan stuff for 20 years, 30 years. Alright, now we are in the final area of this cave. It's a big circular, like crater looking place, and it's called the Antlion no巣. And that means Antlion's Nest or lair. The巣, I actually learned巣and its various meanings literally from this game 20 something years ago. Okay, so巣is a nest, rookery, breeding place, hive, den, haunt, maybe a spider's web sometimes. So you'll get nest a lot. It doesn't always have to be nest. Like sometimes hive is really good. Some shows I worked on many years ago, nest always felt weird to me, so I went with hive, and that was such a good choice when I watched the final product. I was like, yes, I went with the right word there. Alright. So we just have to walk downwards and then we'll meet the Antlion. Over here, let's see how they all translated. Antorion no巣. Antlion's Nest, Antlion's Nest, Antlion Nest. So it can be a nest if you want. What would you call this? Nest, I guess. Maybe not a den. At least maybe a hive. I don't know. You could go a bunch of ways. Alright, so we've walked sort of into the center of this crater looking thing now. Remember antlions, you know how antlions work. So that's what we're walking into. We're walking into the center of an antlion trap. Gilbert turns around and says, Koko ga Antorion no Sanmachi da. And that means this is the antlion's egg laying spot place. Sanmanchi. How does this come out? Egg laying, and chi is just a location, spot, territory, place, something like that. So this is where the antlion lays its eggs, basically. So remember, we're getting the item that we need to get is called the Light of the Desert. And as we've learned from the Japanese script, it's made from the secretions that come out of the antlion when it is laying eggs. So the whole egg laying process is important to this situation. And so the Sannan is a pretty big fancy word to be using in Japanese, but it doesn't even change that into something else for easy type. So the fact that it lays eggs is pretty important. Here we have, this is the lair of Antlion. I would not. I would mark that off if that was like a translation test. If you just said layer, that means like it's just where it lives. But no, this is where it comes to lay its eggs. J2E says this is the Antlion's lair. I would also mark off on that. Naming way. This is the Antlion Nest. And this is a very like small nuanced difference, but by using nest instead of layer, there's already a suggestion of eggs happening, so I won't take off on the naming way here. Alright, so Gilbert starts to walk, but then the Antlion pincers, what do you call those? Pops up. Uh-oh, someone's coming through my front door. I hope it's my wife. Is it Nomura? Is he coming here after I talked bad about him yesterday? I'm assuming it's Poe. Oh yeah, that's right. She came through the front door. It's not Nomura. Crisis averted. Alright, alright, so we have a little bit of a text box here. Rydia and Cecil are standing behind Gilbert. Gilbert is really close to these pincers that have just popped up. Rydia goes, Kya! And Kya is like just an eek, like, you know, a sound like a simple scream sound. Kya, eek is how I would have put that in a basic translation. Let's see. Super NES, that Kya became O. So remember, she's doing a little bit of a scream. There's the nuance is missing from O in Super NES, but I won't mark off. At least there's something in there of a surprise. J2E, they became Kya. I would take that out. I wouldn't say that's a translation. Like, it's almost starting to get into the anime fan sub territory where they'll leave things untranslated. But as we saw at the beginning, their whole point was to retranslate the stuff that Square wouldn't. That was the idea. So I'm gonna take a point off on G2E here. It's minor and picky. Remember, this is 2001. Okay, and then it became Eek and naming way. I like that. It gets the point across the best, so I'm gonna give a point to naming way here. Alright, it's such a minor thing, but right. Then Gilbert says, "Daijoubu. Antlion wa otonashii nda. Ningen ni wa kigai o kuwaenai." And that's saying, it's okay, or don't worry. The Antlion, or Antlions in general, maybe, I don't know. Antlions are otonashi. Can mean a lot of things, but probably like tame, you could say here. What does it say here? Otonashi. Obedient, docile, or quiet. Yeah. So let's see. Then it says Ningen ni wa kigai o kuwaenai. It doesn't hurt humans, it won't hurt humans or cause harm to humans. Is how that goes. In Super NES, worry not. Antlion is tame. So this suggests that there's only one Antlion at all. We don't really know. It could be one, there could be multiple, we're not sure in the Japanese, but Super NES seems to suggest one. Then this line about they won't hurt humans was removed from Super NES, so I'll take a point off on that. J2E. Gilbert says, "Don't worry, the Antlion is tame, he won't hurt a human." Alright, that's good. Naming way. It's okay. Antlions are quite tame. It's missing the part about that they won't hurt humans. I mean, you kind of deduce that, see that, just from the word tame, but that line was written in there by Japanese people on purpose. You don't want to remove that. Alright, so there's one more line, looks like. So he says, "Boku ga totte koyo." So it looks like Gilbert also uses boku, just as Cecil does. It gives kind of an idea of their mental state and how they will see themselves. It's a little bit of a softer masculineness. Maybe like Ness, or what's some other ones? In Evangelion, there's Shinji. There's a couple other guys like that. They're not like Metal Gear Solid Snake kind of guys. They're softer. I'd probably use Boku, even though I'm like middle-aged now. Kind of weird, maybe coming out of a middle-aged guy like me. I don't know what to use. I get to choose what I want. I'm going to choose something from 1,000 years ago. Alright, so he's saying in Japanese, I'll take it. Like he's saying, Ga here says like he will do it. Boku ga tote koyo. I will take it and come back, kind of, is what that says. I will take the sand ruby, Super NES. I'll take the light of the desert. In J2E. Naming way, now to get the sand pearl, ... The ... is strange because he seems confident that there's no problem, so he's just very matter of fact about it in Japanese. So he just says, oh, I'll go get it now. The ... suggests that he's anticipating something maybe, or maybe like it's gonna lead to whatever the next line is. Like maybe they wanted the text to flow when it's not supposed to flow yet. I apologize if there's a lot of noise outside. You might hear a lot of, what's the Zatsuon? What's that in English? Zatsuon. Just noise. You might just hear noise sounds. Alright. So he's gonna go get it. Pincers almost kill Gilbert. Oh no. Gilbert jumps away and shouts, "Ooh-ah!" I need to point this out. It's so weird. You might not even realize it. But little lines like this, Japanese fans do pick up on these lines. Like this is almost nothing. He just goes "ooh-ah" in Japanese. But Gilbert says "ooh-ah" many times in the Japanese script. And I'm not sure if it's like done this way on purpose, but you could probably save text space just by like reusing the same line over and over, just repointing to the singular line. And I wonder if Gilbert's ooh-ah lines are just technically just one line in the script. It'll make sense why I wonder that in a second. So he goes, "Wah." It's not a real word in Japanese. It's just like, "Wah." And Super NES, it just becomes, "No." I would take that off. I would take it off on that. It became "Ooh-ah" in J2E, and "og" in naming way. "Og" suggests maybe that like he got hurt or something. But both of those, they're not actual words. They're just kind of like him saying a sound of shock, surprise, something like that. So I'll leave J2E naming way okay. Alright, Cecil turns to Rydia and says, "Ikuzo, Rydia!" exclamation. And that basically means, let's go, Rydia, or let's do it, Rydia. Let's do this. Alright, Super NES, that became, let's go, Rydia. There should be a comma here. I won't mark off on that. J2E also says, let's go, Rydia, also without a comma in there. The comma in there is like English professors would probably mark you off. J2E changed something here, but I'm not sure what. Right. Naming way says, let's go, Rydia, and the comma is in there. Alright, Rydia nods, and now the battle starts as we go to fight the Antlion. This is another one where, like, earlier I mentioned how when I first rented Final Fantasy II for Super NES back in '92, I got to the Octoman boss, and I struggled with that. I think the next time I rented it, I got to this boss, and it was a little bit of a struggle. This, it seems like a lot of these bosses will have little gimmicks to them. It seems to be these gimmicks are starting with 2. I don't think there were any gimmicks really in Final Fantasy 1 for NES. The gimmick here with this guy is if you attack him physically, he's going to do a counterattack that's pretty powerful. So you want to try to avoid doing physical direct attacks. But we could probably just wail on him, get him out. Hi, Poe.
I'm home, but I still got work to do.
You have work?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're fighting this Antlion. Also, this Antlion sprite looks so weird. It looks so weird. You would be like, that's an Antlion? But I guess I've never really like taken a photo with an Antlion. I don't know what they look like close up. Let's do this fight. All right, so here, I'll do this fight here. I'm having Cecil attack. Okay, he does a good battle. He does good damage. So the 100 there, he's gonna do his Hangeki no Tsuno. That means counterattack, horn or antler is Tsuno. And Hangeki is a counterattack. So we understand what the counterattack is specifically in Japanese. In the Super NES, this just became counter. J2E, this became counter. Naming way, this became counter. We already were talking about how dialogue text in battle it has like a really limited text space, and so stuff has to get really crammed in there and edited down and changed a lot. And that makes sense, but spell names, they have such a smaller window up here. So technique names, magic names, they will always just kind of get obliterated in translation. Here it just says counter. It works fine. As a world builder, as a detail-loving guy, he would probably like to know details. So this thing that I was mentioning, the small box, I actually went and programmed my own routine for this. So in some of the Final Fantasy IV hacks I've done, it will expand this window to match the exact length of the text in there. So it could technically go all the way out here for some really long text. And I shared that code online. I don't think anyone's ever looked at it or cared or anything, but it's in there if you want to try to check it out. I might use it if I ever do a patch of my own for Final Fantasy IV. I've been considering doing like a full translation patch of it someday. Maybe this year, I don't know. Problem is, the biggest thing is I don't like it when people take my work and sell it on eBay. All that hard work that I did for, just the good of fandom, it gets taken and absorbed by like criminal enterprises and money laundering and stuff, and I don't like that happens. Right now, that's probably like the biggest problem that I have with Mother 3 translation carts, is that it's just helping organize crimes and that kind of dirty stuff. I don't like that. Alright, so we got attacked back. Not too bad. I'm gonna have Edward try something here. What I'd like to do is just chocobo kick the heck out of this thing. These days, because like production costs to make your own like bootleg carts, the costs are getting kind of crazy, so it's kind of pushing like home, like the small scale people who would do it on eBay, it's pushing them out of the market, leaving like the really big people behind, and like Alibaba and stuff, to pick up all the slack, and so they kind of absorbed all of that. If only Nintendo would just do it, I could be free of this curse. All because of Nintendo. If they had just done it. I'm kind of curious if other like ROM hackers and ROM translators, what misgivings they might have about how like the way things have gone these days with flashcards and people selling your work. Some people might not care. Some people might be cool about it. I'm doing okay here, as I'm just blabbing. Alright, I better stop doing my attack so much, but he's about to die, right? Yeah, the average person doesn't want to have to deal with flashcards. They just want to pop in the thing. Alright, we killed it. We killed the antlion. I'm sorry, we killed this possibly endangered species. So the question is, we're going to hit it in a second, is this antlion is supposedly tame, according to Edward, who is like the royal family guy. And supposedly this is a well-known cave, a well-known creature in Damcyan politics or something, I don't know. But we just had to go and kill it. It's like something has changed about the antlion. Alright, Radia has leveled up. Learned something? Okay, she learned Todo. Todo is just the English word toad, and it became toad everywhere in all those other versions. However, it looks like there's an easy type change, but we can't see it here because of the way the battle system works right now. So we'll have to look at that outside of battle. She learned toad. Alright. Oh, I better pause it. I've learned whenever it does this music, the text box is going to go away after a short time, so I have to pause it. Okay. It says Sabaku no hikari o te ni ireta. That means obtained, or literally put into the hand, the light of the desert. So obtained the light of the desert. And it's a period. It's a period maybe because like we just killed this creature. And you might think like, oh, it's just it could have gone either way. But we've seen other items, when you get a key item, it'll do an exclamation mark. Here it seems to be a period. In all the translations, we see that it's an exclamation. It's probably doing an exclamation to match the victory sound that we just have. But there seems to be something solemn, possibly. It's like just matter of fact, you've obtained it. Right. Found the sand ruby in Super NES. You received the light of the desert in J2E. Got the sand pearl in Naming Way. Alright. J2E changed the word got to received. So received is now in the modern patch. Yeah, I won't mark off on that, but that's another nuances. That's another thing I could have done. All these nuances, there's so many nuances that just get destroyed and left out. And just in translation, just because of the way translation works. So that could have been another score indicator that we could have put to the side. Maybe in the future, if I do other future games, maybe I'll separate all those things. What's another game that's kind of like this that had stuff removed? 6? Oh, we already did 6 though. Maybe if I do a version of 6, a comparison of Final Fantasy 6, we'll do it with like the, I want to see the PlayStation script because it's not well documented and I bet it's pretty weird. And then maybe I can try to find other versions of 6. Like whatever the Ted Woolsey translation is, like not Ted Woolsey. Someone there's a patch called like a Ted Woolsey uncensored release or something. And I can look at that. It's kind of like the equivalent of the Naming Way that we have here. There's also maybe like the pixel remasters. I can look at those too. Maybe I'll do that, and I'll have the more detailed scoring system on there. We'll see, but that is going to be a long time from now. I'm almost wondering if we're going to finish this game within the next 3 months or so. All right. Now Gilbert is sad, and sad music plays. Gilbert looks downwards at his feet, and he says in Japanese, "Sonna baka na naze Antlion ga ... And that's basically saying something like, "This can't be," or "This is impossible," or "This it can't be this way. Why would the Antlion ... All right. As we can see in the Japanese, the ... means, well, first there's no verb here. We have to insert the verb. The Japanese verb is left off for us to fill in. That is the way Japanese works. We can see that this became, "It can't be. Why did Antlion attack us?" So they put "attack us" as how they filled in the verb there. In J2E, "It can't be. Why did the Antlion ... So this is pretty close. This is like really close to the Japanese here. In J2E. Naming Way, "It can't be. Why did the Antlion attack?" Question mark exclamation. You can see how the delivery of these lines, whether they understood what they were doing or not, is a little different. You have question mark in Super NES, ... in J2E, question mark exclamation in Naming Way. But he's sad and upset, but he's also like, he just said something loud there, so I don't know. Alright, so now Cecil is responding to that. Let me get these lined up. Over here, what's J2E changed? Okay, so J2E only changed some formatting, so we won't need to care about that. Alright, so in Japanese, Cecil says, "Saikin mamono no kazu ga fueta." Recently, the number of monsters has increased. That's how that works. Super NES, we see monsters increasing every day. Recently, the whole part of recently is necessary, but because it's a present progressive with the ing in there, and then every day, I see that all that being kind of conveyed. J2E, the number of monsters have been increasing as of late. Okay, all this is correct. I will say that the use of have instead of has, I would probably pause here and try to think about it a little bit. Take out the word of monsters, the number have been increasing as of late feels weird to me as a native English speaker. I would probably have said has, but because it's a number, it also implies plurality. So this is one of those words where like different maybe English speakers will have different opinions, different maybe English regions will have different opinions. I'm okay with it though. Naming Way, tame creatures are becoming more aggressive lately. That's not what's happening. It's saying that the number of monsters is increasing. First, creatures is wrong. Monsters is pretty good here. Mamono is definitely, you wouldn't call that just a creature. This dictionary I have says goblin or apparition, but this is one of the standard words for monsters in fantasy things. Mamono. It means kind of like evil thing or like wicked thing or magical thing, sorcery thing, sorcery being, something like that. Just calling it a creature gets away from that. And calling it a tame creature is even worse. Alright. Did I take that off? Did I take that off? I'm gonna take one off just in case. Because it looks like they're gonna lose something anyway. Alright. Yeah, also they're not becoming more aggressive, they're increasing in number. Where there is to increase in number, to increase to multiply. Okay. Alright, so we have the next line in Japanese. Ima made otonashikatta kemono tachi made osotte kuru. So this is probably what they're talking about. So when I took off a point for naming way, I'm going to say I took it off for that first line. Because that first line seems to be missing. But now here's where it's coming in. It means imamade, kemono is like beast. So beasts that were tame up until now, even they now attack us. They come and attack. So that's where the tame creatures are getting aggressive day by day in Super NES. I'm good with that. J2E. Formerly tame animals have started to attack humans. I would have used beasts rather than that. You could use Dobutsu here, and that would have a different meaning from Kemono. I'll leave that, okay. Attack humans is kind of wrong. They're just attacking, but that's okay. Tame creatures are becoming more aggressive lately. Okay, that's fine. Alright, the next line is Yahari nanika no maebure ... So, Yahari is a really good word to know in Japanese. It kind of means like as you expected it, or like as I thought, also as I thought. Like when your suspicions are proved true or something like that, maybe? You would say Yahari. It turns into Yappari sometimes. Yappari. Here he's using the proper Yahari. So this must be some sort of Maebure is like an omen, maybe? Like a harbinger, like a sign of something bad to come is what I would call that. So this must be, after all, some sort of sign of things to come. That's kind of the idea I get of that. Portent? Whoa, okay, so in Japanese, or Super NES it calls it must be a portent of some kind, ... So this use of portent is pretty interesting. It's a little higher level vocabulary than we've been seeing. That could be a hint that someone came in and did something afterwards and edited it, but anyway, I really like that. But the idea of, after all, like, it must be a portent of some kind after all, like, yeah, he has a suspicion, and now it's kind of maybe proved, is missing there. It's just a tiny nuance. That same line became, I don't know if this is an omen, ... I don't like the way I don't like the nuances of, I don't know if this is an omen. No, he's saying like, oh, this must be some sort of omen, maybe. Yeah. He's saying that, yeah, he does seem to know in Japanese, so I'm gonna take that. There's a nuance in there, but I'm gonna take that off of J2E here. Then that became, something is afoot in naming way. Yeah, it was missing the nuance on there too, that like this is the first of things to come, possibly, like stuff's going on. We're gonna have worse things to come. This is like there's maybe some kind of conspiracy is afoot. Anything could be afoot. And the word afoot kind of feels strange here. Like there's some kind of conspiracy, some kind of plan. I don't think that's the case. Alright, looks like we're gonna go to the end of this line in a second, so I'll prep. Alright, then Rydia says, Hayaku, Rosa ni! Exclamation. So we have to hurry to Rosa. It's an incomplete sentence, but basically it says, hurry, we need to hurry to Rosa. Then Cecil says, iko! Exclamation, and that's like, yes, let's go. Hayaku Rosa ni became, let's go cure Rosa. Alright, that's okay. Then he says, oh, comma, yes, period. That is, yeah, I don't like the delivery of this line. He's like really ready to go do it. And the O should be like more positive feeling. Like he's agreeing, like, yes, let's go. So the Super NES marked off there. This became, let's get to Rosa quickly. And then Cecil says, right, let's go. Right, let's go is pretty close in there. Let's get to Rosa quickly. That's weird for like a 6-year-old girl to say. Let's hurry to Rosa, I would say is closer in nuance. Okay, but no points on marked off on that. Rydia says ... let's go cure Rosa! Exclamation and naming way. I don't know where the ... comes from. That's a strange delivery choice there. If they even knew what they were doing there. Right. But that's fine. But Cecil's, yes, let's go. His agreement, like his emphatic agreement, is missing from naming way. I'm gonna take out a point there. Yeah, it's like, oh yes, we have to, I forgot about Rosa. Kind of what that feels like. Oh yes, and he's not even that emphatic about it in Super NES there. Alright. Now the party has returned and we have control. We can now leave manually, or since we're playing the original game, let's like take up the developers and the writers on their kindness by giving us this emergency exit. Like this was a nice gift for us. They were very considerate. Let's take advantage of that consideration. Emergency exit item takes us all the way out of the cave. If we had used Rydia's Dejong spell, her warp spell, it would have taken a couple uses of the spell to get out. Right. So now we're on the hovercraft. We can go back now to Kaipo. While we're here, I want to see if those old people are still here. Now that we've completed a quest, it might trigger like a change in the castle. I want to see if those old people are still there. My guess is that these guys are going to be here until Mount Hobbs is over. Yeah, they're here. Am I healed up? No, I'm not healed up. I'll just heal up here. Do they have new lines? I don't think so. Nah, it's the same. Just to be sure, let's check her. Alright, it's the same. We spent almost all of yesterday in this one room, like right here. This is where the Spoonie Bar stuff happens and that whole scene. That whole scene, people probably don't think about it too much. As a translator, you don't get the luxury of skipping through things. You gotta sit there and do the whole blocks of text. And some of them are slogs, some are nice and skippy. You can just skip right through them real fast. They're real easy. But the big story ones are usually gonna be full of the complicated text. Especially when there's back and forth exchanges. That's different from the standard NPCs that are usually one way. Alright, now we did that. Now we are gonna go to Kaipo. I kinda wanna see those toad monsters. No, I'm not gonna waste your guys' time trying to find toad monsters. And I kinda lucked out that I didn't encounter them though, because they can mess with your status. Alright, so now we're outside of Kaipo. Just because I want to do another attempt at the sight spell. Come on, nah. Someday I'm going to get the spell to do the slight rotation that I keep telling everyone about. I'm going to find it. It's just like, before the end of this game, I'm going to get it to happen. And I'm going to learn how to master it. Even if I have to make a Game Genie code, I'm going to mess with it. I know exactly, like, I can mess with it pretty easily. Alright, so now we're in Kaipo. We're about to have a big scene with Rosa, and then we're going to have a scene with Edward at night. Actually, I'd like to take a quick bathroom break before we get started. That way I can come in and with a fresh mind. So, what can I do here? I'll just leave this here. You guys can watch these people walk around. See how many people, like, see if we can get more than 4 people on the screen. before I come back. If people come in, let them know that I'm taking a break. I need to come up with a system for this. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can hear me, say Cecil, but not with an exclamation, only a period. Okay, cool. Looks like we got five NPCs to show up. Whoa, I'm so glad. That's pretty cool. That was kind of a fun little game I just invented there. It's an idling game. Okay, so we're going back. We're back in Kaipo. And if you forgot, Rosa, which is like Cecil's girlfriend at the moment, is sick, and we got the item to heal her now. Before we give her the item, I want to look at it. And again, in Japanese, it's called the Sabaku no Hikari. That means the light of the desert. And that name changed, or did not change in Easy Type. It became Sand Ruby in Super NES, Desert Light in J2E, but the description will say Light of the Desert, a gem from the Antlion's lair. And then the naming way, it is Pearl. The over here, I probably would have put an apostrophe in Antlion's here in J2E. It looks like it used to be called Desert Light. Like light, L-I-T-E. I wonder why they would have done it that way. Alright, so this is the big important item that we just got. We had to kill an antlion for it. Oh no, someone did Cecil with many exclamations. Alright, so this text is the same. We already looked at that. This text is the same, but we have to check it every time because that's the ritual. Right. Don't know. Oh yeah, I have to do an item on top of her there. Alright, This old man still says the same. I don't think the documentation of that has changed. Alright, so now we're next to Rosa in her bed. We have to actually... Well, not yet. Okay, so I've talked to Rosa in the bed. And now Cecil just shouts, "Rosa!" exclamation. And that is conveyed in all versions properly. Now, a window has popped up and I have to use the right item on Rosa to try to cure her. I can choose from Tent, Potion, High Potion, X Potion, Ether, Ether Dry, Phoenix Down, Gold Needle, Maiden's Kiss, Eye Drops, Antidote, Diet Food, Desert Light, or the Gasol Vegetable. So I have all those choices and you have to know which one. If you were playing this in Japanese but you didn't know Japanese, you might get stuck on this part. Unless you tried everything. Alright, so if you're playing this in Japanese and don't know what's going on, choose the Sabaku no Hikari. This one that looks like that. Oh wait, I could have tried to use something else, but it's okay. Alright, so a narration box popped up and says Rosa o Sabaku no Hikari de terashita. So you illuminated Rosa with the light of the desert. I don't know how that works at all. Like, do you hold it up and the light shines on her or something? I don't really understand the mechanics of how this works. Alright. That became in Super NES. Used the sand ruby over Rosa. ... exclamation. I don't know where those dots came from or why they're there. And we just used the ruby over her. I don't know what you do. How do you use a ruby? I don't know how you shine on her either. I don't know. Okay, so the J2E. You shined the light of the desert on Rosa. Shined and shone. What weird grammar we have in English, huh? Alright. Well, J2E was something else before. Oh, just some formatting. Alright. Naming way became the light of the sand pearl shone over Rosa. Alright, so technically in Japanese there is a I don't know what to call it. Is this what we would call transitive and transitive maybe? But more like he's doing it and it's not just a thing that is happening. So he used it, shined it, but in naming way it's like a little more saying what the sand pearl did and not what we did. It doesn't matter. At least, I mean, maybe if this was a courtroom case, the wording would matter, but we're just gamers right now. Alright, so Rosa's doing her little like girly moany thing. ... That became This it's not wrong, but first thing that comes to mind with is like something's really tasty or something's really pleasant. It makes sense why it would be like that though. There's nothing wrong. J2E became ooh ... Okay, I'm okay with that. Naming way became like huh ... exclamation. There is no huh in here. Unless they're about to combine with the next line. But I'm not going to take off because I'm not going to be that harsh. Alright, so the light has dimmed. And now Rosa looks to be awake and better. She turns to Cecil and shouts in Japanese, "Seshiru, ikiteita no ne, yokatta ... So that means, Cecil, you were alive. Thank goodness ... So she thought we were dead, and that's why she was saying, like, please don't die, mumbling it in her delirium. Alright, so that became in Super NES, "Oh, Cecil!" exclamation. Alright, there's a line missing in here. There's a couple, so technically this is 3 lines in Japanese. So let's just look at that as 3 lines. Cecil's in there. You're alive. I'm glad. Okay, so Super NES is going to take off 2 points on this. J2E. Cecil, you're here. I'm so glad. Oh, you're here is not. It should be you're alive. Like you were alive all kind of feeling. that all along feeling is sort of important. I'm so glad. Yokatta ... is I'm so glad. All right, so I will take off 1 point on J2E here. Used to be something. Oh, this is a long line of text, by the way. This is one of the main lines of text we're gonna have to deal with today. It won't be as long as yesterday. All right, this became Cecil, the same as it was in the Super NES. So we took off 2 for Super NES, so we'll take off 2 for naming way here. Okay, next line. All right, we're gonna be on this music for a while. It's a really good song, but I apologize if it drags out on for too long. All right, so Cecil now says, yeah, it feels like I'm feeling like the tone has changed in the room. Okay, so now Cecil says, "Mucha da yo, kimi wa," like you're so reckless. In my own like speaking style, I would say, "Man, you're so reckless," or "Man, that was reckless." Basically, pointing at Rosa and saying, "That was a reckless thing you did." All right, that line became in Super NES just Rosa ... So I'll take off a point. That's different. J2E, why did you come here? Question mark. Is that even in here? Is that even gonna even show up in here? Okay, yeah. So that's not in the original. I'll take off a point of J2E here, and it looks like from what I saw, that mistake or that addition was always in the J2E patch since 1998. And then naming way also just says Rosa ... So he's commenting, just saying like, "Wow, you're so reckless. That was a reckless thing that you did." But in kind of the way there's a lot of sounds happening, I apologize. All right, so I'll take off the point of naming way anyway. All right. Next line we have here, Rosa is now saying, "Misto no jishin de anata wa shinda to kiite ... demo shinjirarenakute ... That means it's both of these are like incomplete sentences and pretty common in Japanese. And saying that I heard that you died in the Misc earthquake ... but I just couldn't believe it ... That's how that plays out in Japanese. Yeah, mucha was reckless. Right. Super NES for that one. She says, "I heard that you were lost since the earthquake at Misc, but I couldn't believe it." And those will just have periods. Lost comes from die. The fact that she thought he was dead is super important for her whole entire motivation. So I'm gonna take off a point on Super NES here. That's one of those like old Nintendo, they don't like the word die things. And I would have liked the dots in there for her, just like her emotional state. Or her line delivery could have been better, basically. Alright. J2E, I heard you died in the earthquake at Misc ... but I didn't believe it. I would have said couldn't, because that is like the potential form in the Japanese there. I just couldn't believe it, or I couldn't believe it. I won't mark off on that. This is the closest that it seems to be. The J2E is real good here. Oh, also, Kimi. He refers to Rosa as Kimi, and that is like a very like familiar way of saying you. You can kind of say it to someone you know really well, like on a friend basis maybe. There's other times when it will come into play, but it's pretty like casual. In the old days, it wasn't casual, like centuries ago. But in this case, he could have used many other words for you in Japanese, but he's using it like a casual and a very familiar one. Sometimes it can be like, oftentimes it's like from a male superior to a female subordinate. I guess any subordinate sometimes, but you'd have to be pretty friendly. Times have changed over the last 30-40 years, so the use of these are going to change over time too. So these things that I say, they might have had different connotations just 30, 40 years ago. These days in Japan, it's all, they know all about like power harassment, sexual harassment, drinking harassment. They're very, very tuned in on that stuff. All right. Let's get back on track here. Naming way. They said you died in the earthquake at Misc. Well, technically she heard, but they said is a common way we can say that in English, so that's cool. They said you died in the earthquake at Misc. I never believed them for a minute. Again, I would have really liked that I couldn't believe it, or just couldn't believe it. Because she just said, like, oh, you were actually alive. So this kind of does negate the thing that she was saying just the moment before in Japanese. I'm going to take off a point on that. I'm going to give that back. I can see where there's an argument. I don't want to cause an argument that will drag out. Alright. Now Cecil says, sumanai, ... And again, that's like a way of saying sorry. It's kind of, you don't normally want to say that kind of stuff in Japanese, but because they're so familiar that you can drop it down to that level of speech. It basically means I'm sorry, but it can mean thank you sometimes. Yeah, this dictionary even mentions I'm sorry, thank you at the end there, excuse me. That's the like less polite version of sumimasen. Alright, so sumanai, sori yori gorubeza to wa itai. So I'm sorry, more importantly, or like changing the topic, literally means like more than that, more importantly than that. Just who is Golbez is what he's asking. I'm sorry, ... More importantly, or anyway, who's Golbez? Who the heck is Golbez? Alright, so all of that in Japan or Super NES became I'm sorry, a period. I worried you, period. By the way, comma, Rosa, ... Who is Golbez? This I'm worried you isn't technically in the the Japanese. It's not wrong. I like it's adding to the why he's apologizing. But for closeness sake, like if you had put that in a translation test, you might get marked off just because it's an addition. It's pretty minor. Alright, so J2E, don't worry, ... I'm here, ... Rosa, who is Golbez? I'm here. It should not be in there. I'm here should not be here, so J2E will lose a point. And so he's changing the topic using this sort of yori. Does this show up on my thing? Yeah, my dictionary thing here says thing. Dictionary thing here says apart from that, other than that, leaving that aside, more than that, but however. So he's like kind of twisting the topic. He's like switching the topic with that. That's what this, by the way, comes from. So that's missing from J2E. I would have liked that in there. I won't mark off. Naming way. Oh. Alright, so naming way added a line from Rosa here. It says, so I set out after you, ... That was the implication, but she never said it out straight out loud in Japanese. I'm gonna take off a point. That's kind of an addition in naming way. Alright, so Cecil continued in naming way. I'm sorry I worried you, ... By the way, Rosa, who's Golbez? Okay, I'm gonna give Super NES a point back because I'm not gonna take off a point for naming way because I'm sorry I worried you is pretty good for sumanai. Kind of fills in the blank a teeny bit of the nuance. Alright, by the way, Rosa, who's Golbez? I would have liked some emphasis from this itai, like just who is Golbez, who the heck is Golbez kind of feeling. Not a big deal. Okay, Rosa now responds. Gotta pull this up. We're gonna get some details now about Golbez. This is gonna be some important stuff. We're slowly getting info on this crazy villain named Golbez. Alright, in Japanese. あなたに代わって赤い翼を指揮させるため、バロン王が呼んだの。So she's speaking kind of in a feminine style here. Like plain feminine style in modern style Japanese. Alright, so it basically says, in your place, so the King Baron, put him in charge of the Red Wings in your place. Is how that plays out. In Super NES, the king, capitalized K there, invited him to the Red Wings. Literally, he's saying he put him in charge of the Red Wings, not just invited. Like, there's a big difference. Like, he could just have been a member of the Red Wings at that point. The fact that he's in charge of the Red Wings is a pretty big deal, so I'll take that off of Super NES here. J2E, the King of Baron called him to take your place as the commander of the Red Wings. I like it. Naming way. The king invited him to lead the Red Wings in your absence. The absence isn't in there, more like in your place. Because that makes it sound like someday he'll be able to come back, you know? I don't know. But I won't mark up on that. Invited and lead are in there, it's kind of neat. But I won't say it was invited, it was like put him in charge. There's no like invitation, I don't feel. Yonda no is invited? Yeah, okay, I'll put invite. That's fine. Okay, she continues. Looks like this is gonna cross the window. Let me compensate for this. Okay. 彼が来てから王はますますおかしくなってきっとゴルベザが王を操りクリスタルを集めてるんだわ。This one, if you don't know a lot about Japanese, sometimes, not all the time, I'm going to say in Japanese entertainment, maybe 70%, 80% of the time, if a sentence ends with a wa like this, it'll indicate it's like a feminine emphasis sentence ender. Indicates emotion or admiration, mainly feminine. So if you're ever looking through like a Japanese something, you see a wa, this kind of wa, you can kind of pull some of that detail out of there if you like. Right. So what that means in Japanese, it says after he came, the king got more and more strange. He became more and more strange or different. ... Surely the king or Golbez is manipulating the king and gathering the crystals. I'm certain of it. Or Golbez must surely be controlling the king to gather the crystals. And she seems pretty confident about it. Maybe not 100%, but pretty confident. And she says it was solid delivery. All right. Super NES. The king is not the same as he used to be. It seems he is nothing more than Golbez's puppet to collect all the crystals. Yeah, so ever since Golbez showed up, the king's gotten weirder and weirder. That cause and effect is missing in Super NES. I want to take off a point on that. And Golbez, the part about being like Golbez's puppet is pretty clear in Super NES. But the fact that the king has been getting weirder since Golbez arrived is a little less clear. I do like this phrase of Golbez's puppet. It really gets around some of the wordiness of a straight translation. Right. J2E. The King of Baron called him to take your place as commander of Red Wings. Ever since he came, King Baron has given more and more authority to him. ... Golbez is certainly the one influencing the king to gather the 4 crystals. Alright, there's a couple things in here that I can nitpick. Giving him more and more authority is not what's being said. First of all, he's saying that ever since he came, King Baron has been getting weirder and weirder, is sort of the idea. not giving more and more authority to him. J2E, I'll mark off on that. Then the next part, Golbez is certainly the one influencing the king to gather the 4 crystals. Well, first there's no 4 in the original Japanese. That detail is missing. I'm gonna take off a point for now, but we might end up finding another mistake in here. Golbez is certainly the one influencing the king to gather the 4 crystals. So the idea here is Golbez is influencing the king in order for the king to gather the crystals. But what it feels like in Japanese is that Golbez is just doing the crystal gathering. Golbez is doing the crystal gathering, not the king. And he's using basically the king here to do that for himself, not for the king. It's kind of complicated when I explain it out loud like that. I hope that makes sense. Some of the, I guess, the, what do we call it? Agency has moved. The responsibility has moved a little bit. I already marked them off, so I'll just leave that as the mark. Alright, naming way says, but His Majesty, I like that. His Majesty is no longer the man he once was, period. It seems that he's Golbez's puppet in his crusade for the crystals. Okay, it seems that he's Golbez's puppet in his crusade for crystals. This word his, what is this referring to? Is it Golbez or the king? The writing on this, I think this might just come down to maybe like an English professor. If you take a literature course or something, they might call this something like an ambiguity or a hanging, like a hanging pronoun or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of phrases for that. His Majesty is no longer the man he once was. The part about him getting different more and more since Golbez showed up is missing. The word crusade here, something about it stands out to me, but I don't know what to say about it. I'm gonna say that this is all rest of this is okay. I might be missing something, but let's continue. All right, the next line, anata ga. My pitch accent on anata is so bad. I apologize. Anata ga totte kita Mishiria no mizu no kristaru. So this is an incomplete sentence. She's starting to make a list of names. So the water crystal of Mysidia that you took and you brought. Then the next thing she's going to say is Damcyan no hino kristaru. So the Damcyan's fire crystal, period. So those are both perioded. Alright, looks like all these translations are going to slightly diverge here as they try to deal with this list. This is a very Japanese way of listing things, especially in entertainment or things like that. I don't know if this is something that would be said out loud normally. I don't think you would do it this way, but... Alright, the crystal of Super NES, the crystal of water from Mysidia is already in his hand. So as we've seen, there's not even verbs involved yet. These aren't complete sentences. She's just making a list, like the crystal of water, the crystal of fire, and she's just adding a little bit of descriptions to those lists, but this becomes a full sentence with a full thought. So, crystal of water from Mysidia is already in his hands, period, but other crystals, ... The crystal of fire is in Damcyan, air is in Fable, and earth is in Toroya. J2E. The water crystal from Mysidia, the fire crystal from Damcyan, the wind crystal from Fable, and the earth crystal from Toroya. Naming way. The water crystal of Mysidia is already in his hands, ... Next are the other 3. Damcyan's fire crystal, Fabul's wind crystal, and Toroya's earth crystal. Alright, so let's just finish out this Japanese and then we can go to those lines. Alright, so she's just finishing her list. She's just making a list again. Faburu no kazi no kristaru. Sore ni toroya no chi no kristaru. ... So Fabul's wind crystal plus Troy's earth crystal. ... So now that we've read that, we can go back and kind of look and see how things might have changed. So the part that is already in his hands is not clear in the Japanese text. This was an addition also, but other crystals. So technically a lot of this in the Super NES is now kind of like rephrasing it all because the list is kind of weird in translation, and it's kind of weird to be talking this way. For kaze, they call air in Super NES. Kaze is usually wind, but we can see air. What would we call that? What would be air, actually air in Japanese? Kuki? No, that'd be weird. A kuki crystal. What else? What else is air? I don't know. I don't know. You could say sanso, oxygen. Oxygen crystal. No, I don't know. And then, what else? I don't really know how to grade these because they're so different from the original. Alright, so we'll look at J2E. The water crystal from Mysidia. The point that we already got, so she makes a point that the Mysidia water crystal is the one that you took. Like, anata ga. That ga in there. Alright. It looks like the one that you already got is already in his hands, so they kind of changed the responsibility again. Okay. If we look at it from the sense of responsibility. So first, if this was all a translation course, you could probably get all of these translations would probably get a lot of corrections and arrows pointing to like move this here and put that there. But because this is so different in all cases, I have to kind of take it by case. I'm gonna say that already in his hands. I want to take a point off on that. But other crystals is technically an addition, but they're trying to refactor the list that she said. That's fine. Okay, so J2E, the water crystal from Mysidia. The whole point about us getting it, like we are the ones who got the water crystal. She's reminding us that we already got it, and we're the ones responsible for that. So that detail is missing from J2E here. Then the fire crystal from Damcyan. All right, so they kind of tried to keep the list idea intact in J2E. That's pretty good. I kind of liked that they tried to keep with the format of the original, even though it became kind of unwieldy. Naming way. The water crystal of Mysidia is already in his hands. Next are the other three. Damcyan's fire crystal, Fabul's wind crystal, and Troy's earth crystal. So you can see they went with wind, naming way, and they went with wind and J2E. So those ones are a little bit, teeny bit closer than Super NES. Alright, again, the point about us having personally, responsibly acquired the wind crystal or water crystal isn't intact in naming way. I'll take a point off. Alright, we've been on this list for a while, so let's continue. Alright, a new line of text, another long block of text that we're going to have here. Gilbert now chimes in. He's looking kind of sad and down as he says it. Hino kristaru wa sude ni kari no te no naka desu. ... So the fire crystal is already in his hands. ... So he's doing that in response to Rosa's list about the fire crystal. That became in Super NES, the crystal of fire is already gone. I would have said already in his hands, like literally it says kare. It's not that common. I don't know. It's less common in Japanese to ever use the word him or a little bit. So the fact that it's being used there means that they really want you to think about Golbez again. And it's already in his hands. It's so minor. I'm gonna allow that one. Alright. J2E. He's taken the fire crystal. I would have already liked the word already. In here, he's already taken the fire crystal. Sudeni. Already, too late. And already is in the Super NES also. Won't mark off on that. He's already taken the fire crystal. Naming Way says the fire crystal is already lost. Again, it's missing the part where it's in his hands, specifically his hands. But it has the already in there. I like that. Next part. Also, there's the ... and that's missing in Super NES and Naming Way. Alright, so now Cecil will respond. He's about to introduce Edward Gilbert to Rosa. Kare wa giru to Damcyan no oji da. So he is Gilbert, the king of Damcyan, or not king, prince of Damcyan. That became, he is Edward, the prince of Damcyan. You can see how they took two separate sentences and just combined it into one with a comma. It's kind of nice to do that sometimes. J2E says, this is Gilbert, comma, the prince of Damcyan. Alright. He's saying this instead of he, but it's okay. Naming Way. Please allow me. This is Edward, Prince of Damcyan. This please allow me is not present in the original. It's more politeness and it's kind of nice, but it's unnecessary. It was basically an addition, so I'll take that off. Next line. Cecil's still talking. He's going to say, Kare no okage de kimi o naosu koto ga dekitanda. So, thanks to him, I or we were able to heal you. Alright, looks like we're going to have a problem there. I'm going to try to get this set up. Alright, so thanks to him we were able to heal you. Became in the Super NES, nothing. They took that line out. Alright, J2E. It's because of him that we were able to heal you. Okay, good. Naming Way, thanks to him we were able to cure you. Okay. Then Cecil says one more. He says one more thing. Kono ko wa misto no ... Lidia da, period. And that means this girl or this child. As for this child, it's Rydia of Mist, but it starts with misto no first. It's Mist's Rydia is how you can try to make that work. And I mentioned this before, but basically anytime he's going to talk about Mist, he's going to stop and do his ... because he's really upset about it. And this is the writer's way in Japanese of showing like his, I guess hesitation, but like he's hurt every time he talks about it. It stings him every time he thinks about what he did. Alright, so this is, this girl is Mist, Rydia of Mist, with some hesitation in there. Alright, in Super NES. And this girl, comma, Rydia of Mist. The nuance is definitely gone. I would have liked that. And J2E. This girl is Rydia, comma, from Mist, period. I would have liked that in there too, so I took a point off there. Naming Way. And this is Rydia of Mist. Okay, so they all missed points on that. Like, it's such a simple sentence, right? In Japanese, like, even if you don't know Japanese too much, you could probably translate that. But you have to look deeper than just the surface words. Actually, J2E changed some stuff here. Anything of interest? Oh, they changed he to this is, so I used to be a little closer. Nothing too big is going to happen, just formatting after that, so we won't look at that. Alright, so Cecil has just introduced Edward and Rydia to Rosa. And now Rydia says, Daijoubu, and basically saying, are you okay? In Super NES, that became you okay? The way it's said suggests that it's not like a full sentence, and it's something that is kind of casual. So you okay does a really good job with that. Are you okay? It says in J2E. Then in naming way, it just says hi there. Are you feeling better? So this hi there shouldn't be there. I'm gonna take off the point. I do want to point out here, when I was I don't really do much translating anymore. I'm kind of like trying to find my next path in life right now. But back when I would do translations for like 20 years plus, different people would have different suggestions or desires. Like my different clients would have different ways of how to use the word okay. Some preferred it like this with OKAY, and others wanted it always as O and K. Personally, I think I always will side with OKAY as a word, and okay is kind of strange, but it's kind of like I mentioned the other day with alright and alright. The two ways of spelling that, they have their uses and you can use them to your advantage as a translator. I do want to briefly mention, if you look it up, the etymology of the word okay, there's various theories, and actually over the years I've seen new theories pop up, and I'm kind of weirded out that I'm seeing new theories that feel kind of contrived. But anyway, one of the theories is that in because for some reason people don't really know where this word came from, but one of the theories, and I learned this growing up from my family, is that it might be related to or distantly sourced from a Choctaw word. The Choctaws are a Native American tribe. They were real big in the southeast hundreds and hundreds of years ago. You know, then things happened. Well, speaking of which, today is the 225th anniversary of the treaty where things started to go bad for Choctaws, of Fort Adams, I think. But anyway, going back to all that, okay, might come from Choctaw is one of the theories that I heard, and then I saw it as I would look up the word okay throughout my career. It's very, very likely that it could be okay, could come from Choctaw, but I think it might come from something even earlier than Choctaw, maybe an older language from, I don't know, Asia or something. So the word okay is kind of a weird mystery, and how to use it will depend on your different clients. Anyway, so that's my diversion on the word for okay. There's other theories out there, and they're all kind of competing. Alright. So she's asking, are you okay? Rosa says, Arigato Lydia Girubato. Thank you, Lydia and Gilbert. In Super NES, Rosa does not seem to thank anyone. Yep. Alright. So I'm going to take off 1 point for Super NES here, because it's one sentence. Although you could argue that it's like 3 at most. So she doesn't think thank you in the Super NES. J2E says, I'm better, ... thanks, ... So the I'm better part is added. And also she doesn't thank specifically Rydia and Gilbert, like these new people that she's just met. And so she's that kind of a cheerful, considerate, thoughtful person to thank strangers. That's missing from the J2E. Then Rosa says in naming way, yes, thanks to you both. So she's thanking them both in a slightly different way, but the thanks is conveyed to those both of them specifically. So good job there. Now turn on this light. It's getting dark. All right, this next part. Damcyan ga sude ni osawareta toshitara, tsugi wa faburu, koshite wa. Rosa is now here saying, if Damcyan has already been attacked, then Fabul is next. And now this koshite wa is an incomplete sentence. And she's basically about to say, like, we can't just sit around. We can't sit around like this. We can't dawdle like this. That's how that works. Wait a minute. So she does thank you. Rosa does thank you in Super NES. She just doesn't thank them both. Yep. Okay. Alright, so she says Damcyan has already been attacked. Then the next target is ... Fabul. We must hurry. Okay, all of these things seem to exist. In the original, I'm okay with that. J2E says if Damcyan's crystal has already been taken, then Fabul is next. How's this gonna work? We can't let this happen. I'm gonna change this J2E. It seems like a slightly off. Koshdewa, as we can't let this happen. I mean, there's the ... and the exclamation, but she's saying more like, we can't just sit around. We have to go now is kind of the idea. Like, we gotta go. You can see her emphasis in all of those sudden exclamations in Japanese. And you can see that in the Super NES. Uh-oh, I smell smoke outside again. Someone must be doing a chimney. Did I take one on J2E already? I'm getting distracted by smoke. Alright, naming way. Then Fabul is next! Exclamation. We must ... I can see what they're trying to do with Koshdewa becomes we must. Just because I'm going to be picky on this one, I'm going to take this off. Because the idea is that she's really pumped up to really go do this stuff. Like, before she's speaking with dots when she was kind of sick and recovering, then she's got her period, just like straight like dot. I don't remember what to call that in Japanese. Then she hits the exclamation, so she's kind of has a gradient happening here. And as we're about to see, as she hits the peak of that gradient, she starts coughing. Go ho, go ho, go ho. Oh, it doesn't even have it in here. Okay, so she coughs suddenly. She gets so excited and energetic and then coughs. She coughs, cough, 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 cough. And you can see the different translations will denote the cough differently. They might have done it. Yeah, they had a different, in the old J2E, they had a different way of doing the coughs. So we're going real slow through this. This is how it gets when you're a translator. Okay, so Cecil, after Rosa coughs, says, Rosa murio suruna. Rosa, don't, basically don't like push yourself, don't overexert yourself, don't overdo it. This use of suruna, this na is a pretty, this is like the direct negative command. You wouldn't really do that normally, but it shows that they're really close. You kind of missed that in just straight translation. Rosa, you must rest. So he's doing a negative command in Japanese. That became Rosa ... you must rest, period. J2E, Rosa, don't overdo it. Naming way says Rosa ... you rest here. Okay, I'm gonna be okay with those. Then he says that because the next thing he says is Faburu wa bokura ga iku. So we will go to Fabul. And with the implication that you won't. That became a Super NES, will go to Fabul. Also notice that he's doing his emphasis here, will go. The emphasis is missing in the Super NES. J2E will go to Fabul, but no emphasis. Naming way will go to Fabul. No emphasis. No, I won't mark those ones off. Then we have Gilbert saying, Demo, Faburu e iku hobuso no yama wa atsui kori de ... He's saying here, but on the way to Fabul, well, basically I have to break it apart a little bit here. But on the way to Fabul is Mountain Hobbs, and it has thick ice ... It became a Super NES, but we must get over Mount Hobbs to go to Fabul. The trail is blocked by thick ice. ... is missing, that's fine though. Okay, J2E, but the way to Fabul over Hobbs Mountain is frozen over ... The ... in the Japanese suggests that like he has no idea what to do about it. Like we're stuck. Like we could go. Like Cecil really wants to go, but now Gilbert is saying no. Actually, we can't. ... Like things are hopeless. This is what I get from that. Edward in naming way says we must scale. So the but. There's a but. Like he's saying that he's giving a counter argument. He's arguing that we can't with a but that but is missing in naming way. But I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna say it's okay. We must scale Mount Hobbs to get to Fabul, but the trail is blocked by thick ice. So there's a but kind of moved here. Would have liked the ... there, but it's okay. All right. So Rosa, after she coughed, it makes sense that now she will do ... Didia, Anata, Fire, o Tsukaeru. Then saying, Rydia, can you use fire? And Super NES, that became Rydia, can you use the spell of fire? So whatever that ... in there was meant to denote, not donate, it's missing there. Can you use the spell of fire? So they added that in for our understanding. If she had just said, can you use fire? Taken out of context, that might seem kind of funny. Can you use fire? So that's another common thing, is you don't want to accidentally introduce unexpected consequences of your wording. Like just by translating, you might accidentally word something in a weird way, and you want to try to avoid ambiguity. So that seems to be what they're doing there. They're compensating for that there. Here we have ... Rydia. Can you cast fire? Using cast here is really good. And literally just means can you use Skyaru to be whatever. Okay, that's good. I like the J2E one over the SNES one right now. Naming way says Rydia, can you cast fire? I'll just leave that, it's fine. Then Rydia goes, suddenly, exclamation mark. And then she goes ... Sky and I ... So that denotes the first that she's like shocked, something has like suddenly, like a lightning bolt has gone through her mind, and she's jerked awake or shocked to hear even the word fire is what we're getting. Like it's not clear yet, but it's going to be that she's reacting to the word fire here. Then she hesitates and then goes, no, I can't. And then with some surrounded by ... Alright, so that in Japan or Super NES says exclamation, no, I can't. Okay, so that's giving her like hesitation and her shock. That's pretty good. J2E, exclamation. No, I can't. So the is trying to do the which is a way of saying like It's a weird way of saying no in like Japanese. Okay, naming way says Rydia, can you cast fire? ... No, I can't ... This one is missing her single exclamation mark, and that's kind of important. It even has its own line. It's not just in there randomly. So the importance of that exclamation is pretty important, and they dropped that out, so I took that point off. Alright, new text box. Okay, so Rosa says, 召喚師のあなたが黒魔法の商法ともいえるファイルを使えないはずは... She's about to say more, but she's about to cough. We'll get to the cough in a second. But she's saying, you're a summoner, so there's no way that you can't not use fire, which is said to be the most basic, most fundamental black magic spell. Basically, fire is the most basic black magic spell, and you're a summoner, so there's no way that it's impossible for you. But then she can't finish her sentence fully. And then she coughs, she goes, ugh, ... goho. So that all became in Super NES, you're a caller. Black magic should be easy for you, Rydia. Dot. And then dot 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 cough. Dot 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 cough. The word fire needs to be in this sentence. That's the most important thing, because Rydia is like has a hang up with fire. It's her trauma now. The word fire should be in here. I would have really liked fire there, so I'm gonna take off on J2E here. Also, the fact that it's like the most basic spell, that nuance is missing from Super NES. Okay, J2E, if you're a summoner, comma, you should be able to cast a basic black magic spell like fire. Dot 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 cough. This would work good if the word should was emphasized in its delivery. Like if you're going to say it out loud, you should be able to. Looks like in J2E, ooh became cough. Alright, but fire's in there, basic black magic spell. That's good. J2E is an improvement over the original here. Then naming me as a summoner, this most basic black magic should be simple for you, dot 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 cough. I would have liked the word fire in here again. It's defining what that fire is, a black basic, like very fundamental. Alright, so she's coughing, we can see it in her sprite animation. So Cecil now shouts in Japanese, Rosa, yahari kimi wa mate nakia dame da. And he's saying, Rosa, you need to wait here after all. You need to wait here after all. Like, he's saying you can't come with us. Alright. And Super NES became Rosa, you must rest. So he's using this as his, in Japanese, he's using this as his further evidence of his argument that she must not go, that they're gonna go. That further argumentness of it isn't missing, or I mean is missing in all the translations here. It is a nuance. I will leave it. I will just not do anything about it here. If I was to translate this myself, it would be in there though. Rosa, you must rest. That became in J2E also. Rosa, you must rest. Naming way. Rosa, please save your strength. That one's actually kind of good. Okay, I won't do anything though. J2E has a formatting change. And J2E is almost at negative here. Alright, now Rosa responds, Watashi nara daijoubu. The implication here is like, if you're worried about me, I'll be fine. Sore ni watashi mo shiro madoshi. Plus, I'm a white mage, a white wizard. Ashide matoi ni wa naranai hazu yo. Dot 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 exclamation. So, if you're worried about me, I'll be fine. Plus, I'm a white wizard. I shouldn't be a burden on you. Like I won't be a burden on you. There's some uncertainty. Like she's doing her pleading argument here, is what we're saying. Ashide matoi. Matoi is an important word. Like I won't hold you back. I won't be a burden. How does this thing translate it? Impediment, burden, encumbrance, hindrance, drag. She's saying I won't hold you back. I won't be dead weight. Like because I'm a white wage, that's like it wouldn't make sense for that I would end up as dead weight to you. That's her argument. This is her defense to come along. It's pretty well thought out, and it's pretty convincing. So in the Super NES, that became I am alright, period. And I'm a white wizard, period. I won't bother you. Bother you feels pretty weak compared to this whole sentence here. Ashide matoi ni naranai. I don't like the nuance that brings. J2E says I'll be alright, and I'm a white magician. It won't be a burden. Okay, it gets in there. The Hazu, the nuance of Hazu in there is hard to bring through in English. Alright, naming way. I'm fine. I won't be a burden. I'm a white wizard after all. So this rephrases it, like rearranges the sentences, and this is kind of a common thing in translation too. to rearrange things logically so that the implications will flow more logically for the target audience. I'm fine, I won't be a burden, I'm a white wizard after all. So this after all kind of does a good job for this Hazuyo. Also the Swordani. The Swordani does good for the after all there. Alright, naming way does a pretty good job here, I like it. Then Cecil just goes ... in Japanese, and that exists in all versions. They didn't write that out of any version. Alright. Now, Gilbert turns towards Cecil and then says, Seshiru ... Rosa wa kimi to isho ni itai n da yo. Cecil ... Rosa wants to be with you. She just wants to be with you. And then that became in Super NES. Cecil ... Rosa wants to be with you. Period. Don't you see ? This don't you see is not in there. But it seems to be doing the new, it's like if you were to take the nuances out of this sentence and put it into a brand new sentence, that's what this is. Don't you see? This ndayo is where that's coming from, kind of. So I'm okay with that. Cecil, so J2E. Cecil ... Rosa wants to be with you. Okay. Yeah, I would have liked more, a little bit more of the nuance that the Super NES has there. Alright, naming way. Rosa only wishes to be with you, Cecil. It's fine. Okay, Cecil responds with ... because now he's like rolling it over in his head. He's trying to like fight this argument in his head, and then he gives in and says, Wakatta, Rosa ... Isho ni iko. So that means, alright, Rosa, let's go together. SNES. Okay, Rosa, let's go together. Yep. Good job, Super NES. There's some ... missing. That could have improved it a teeny bit. Cecil and J2E says ... Alright, Rosa. Period. Let's go together. Period. I like it. Then Naming Way says, okay, Rosa, we'll go together. We'll go together and let's go together. That's kind of interesting. I would have said let's, because it's a nice invitation. We'll go together. It feels like, okay, Rosa, we'll go together. There's some nuances in there. That's okay, though. Alright, so he continues. Mo yoru da. Asu no asa tato. Period. It's already night. It's already night out. Let's depart tomorrow morning. We're going to assume that easy type is going to change this word tato to like set out or to depart. I feel like it's going to change that. We'll look at that in a second. Tonikaku konya wa yukuri ya oyasumi. At any rate, good night, or like sleep well tonight. For tonight, sleep well or rest easy kind of idea. Super NES, but it's too late tonight. Rest and sleep for now. J2E says, wait a minute. Okay, so Super NES misses the part about we'll set out tomorrow morning. I'm gonna take a point off. That's a sentence missing for Super NES. Alright, so J2E says it's night already. We'll leave tomorrow morning. For the time being, just get some rest tonight. I would say it's a little nicer than that in tone, but it's okay. They get the details in there. It's pretty good. Naming way. But the hour grows late. At least get enough rest tonight. The hour grows late. Okay, the part about let's set out tomorrow morning is missing a naming way. We'll remove a point on that. Would have liked some tone changes in the naming way here, but that's just its style maybe. Alright, so I do want to look at the easy type here. Oh no, there is no easy type difference. Okay, I was wrong. Tato, okay. we're about to end this section. Alright. Alright, now Rosa gives like the final lines of this little scene and says, Sessiru, ... Wakatta wa, period. That means Cecil, okay, or Cecil, I understand, or Cecil, alright. Wakatta wa, I'm getting a positive vibe out of it in Japanese. She's showing her understanding, and I can almost hear it being said out loud. And I feel positivity, like just a nice positive vibe out of it. J2E, Cecil ... thank you. That became okay, Cecil and Super NES. But the I understand is, oh yeah, okay is where that comes from. Sometimes Wakata can just mean okay. So that's where that is in the Super NES. Would have liked this sentence to end on a period rather than a ... because that feels like there could be some hesitation or some hold back there. Then, in a naming way, I will. Thank you, Cecil. The thank you isn't technically in there, but like I was saying, there's some positivity in here. Like there is no arigato or anything in there. But I do get a good... I don't know. It could go either way on this. If we were going to do a localization exam or a translation test, yeah, it might make through unscathed. Alright, next line. Now we have a narration saying, Shiromadoshi, Rosa ga nakama ni natta. And so the white wizard Rosa joined the party, is kind of how it will go. Rosa joined. The part about she being a white wizard is missing. Whenever someone joins in this game, it kind of gives the description of who's joining. It's a good gameplay mechanic to do that. I think they might have done that with Edward last time. But here they're inconsistent. That detail's missing. I'm gonna drop that out. J2E. White Magician Rosa joined the party. Okay. Naming way. White Wizard Rosa joined. Good. Alright. So after this, there's gonna be a fade out, and then we're gonna go to a new cutscene with Edward walking around. And that is also an important scene. So what I'm gonna do is take another quick break, come back in about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll begin on that scene. We're doing okay on time here. I think we'll be able to get through this next scene just fine. There's not a whole lot, but there's a lot to say though. So I'm gonna take another quick break here, and I don't know. I guess just think amongst yourselves. If you have any questions for this stream or for tomorrow's stream, if you put some notes in there now with BBQ in front, then I can address them tomorrow during the intro. So maybe you can use that time to come up with questions. All right, just a second. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I was just now thinking, like, where do I want this stream to end? We'll probably end after this scene. Maybe we'll go to Mount Hobbs and look at Rosa's battle stuff. But tomorrow, I was thinking, well, I'm not going to stream tomorrow, but I'll stream on Thursday. I was thinking, how do I want that stream? Where do I want that stream to end? Because when we get to Fabul, it's going to be, there's a lot of scenes in there, a lot of writing, a lot of text, a lot of stuff back and forth. So I'll probably want to get through half of that. There's no way I can get through all that in one day. So if I break it across days, it might work. So we might do half of Fabul tomorrow, if we're lucky. All right, let's continue this scene. It's going to be night in a second. That night, Sono Yoru. All those are good. Oh, I have to press the button. What a weird time to have to press the button. All right, so it's night out. We're in Kaipo, and the town is like deserted. It's empty. Everyone is asleep. So Edward seems to be sneaking out into the darkness now, and you can kind of hear the crickets. Even just hearing crickets is a background sound. That was really cool. Just, you don't get that in games back in the day like that. The NES, if it tried to make like the sound of crickets, I don't think it could do it too well. All right, so Edward walks over. He's gonna go walk to like this toward the water. And he's looking out at the water, and a text box appears and says ... So remember, he lost his loved one. He lost his kingdom. He lost all the people of his kingdom. Well, maybe not all, but I don't know where they all are. He's lost a lot. And he's still not confident in himself. So he's out here at night. What is he doing out here at night? He starts playing his harp out here. All right. I don't know if this has a timer on it, so I'm pausing it right now. But Gilbert is now talking. And he says, Yahari samishi yo anna ... And he's saying, I really am sad, or I really am lonely, or I really do miss you, Anna. After all. Oh, pulls back. So samishi is a weird word in Japanese. It can mean a lot of things, and you kind of have to pick and choose. Samishi. Sometimes it overlaps with another word called sabishi. Sabishi and samishi is strange. Anyway, lonely, lonesome, solitary, desolate. It can mean just the feeling of like when you're all alone. Sometimes there's a sad feeling in there. So he's saying that like I really am sad without you. That became the Super NES. I miss you, my dear Anna. ... That's fine. And then J2A says Anna. ... Why did you have to leave me? ... Question mark. Well, it used to be something else. What did it used to be? Oh, it was just formatting difference. Well, I'm going to take one off on J2A because that's not really what's being said. Naming way just has ... Like nothing is being said at all. Like, wow. Like that's not even anything. All right. Pretty good. Let's continue. Okay, looks like I can use the button here. Alright, suddenly, out of nowhere, comes a weird creature guy in a cloak. But that's just how enemies are depicted on the overworlds or whatever. So a monster is now about to sneak up from out of the water and attack Gilbert as his back is turned. The timing of this is so weird, and Japanese fans will point out pretty often that like what was going on. Why was there this monster in the middle of town? If anyone else had been walking around town, would they have been attacked? Is this like a secret monster? Like who put this monster here? Was it Golbez? None of it really makes sense. Some people will theorize that this monster was put here by Anna herself to test Edward. What's the real deal? I don't know. We'll have to ask. Who do we ask for this one? I guess we'll just ask Miyamoto again, Shigeru Miyamoto. All right, so Edward steps back and is surprised, and he goes, "Uwa!" Again, this is one of Edward's like kind of famous lines in Japanese fan communities. He just always goes, "Uwa!" For some reason, in Super NES, Poe's coming in, so
Sorry.
yeah, there's a lot of rustling.
Sorry.
All right. And for whatever reason, the Super NES, anytime Gilbert does one of his many "Uwa," he just shouts, "No!" And again, I wonder if it's all just like the same line and they're all pulling from the same line in the data. All right, so "No" was in Super NES, "Uwa" in J2E, and "Ag" in Naming Way. This would make sense if we looked at how it appeared previously. I think I marked it off for Super NES last time, so I'm going to do it again here because it's not a real word that he's saying. All right. The monster attacks. We're in battle now. All right, so we're fighting what seems to be a Sahagin, and we saw before that Sahagins were those Dungeons and Dragons monsters. I think they're merfolk, like the creature from the Black Lagoon kind of monster, fishmen. And we've already seen these monsters, but they were in the cave to the north, so why is one here all of a sudden? I don't know. Anyway, Edward is all alone fighting this. We attack it. Then suddenly, the ghost of Anna's spirit appears in the background. Like, why is this happening? It's unclear. I kind of like this background, by the way. You don't see this dark sky background in battle much. Anna appears and then says on that little text box, "Yuki o dasu no yo." And that means like, have courage, or like, bring forth your courage is kind of how I would translate that if you want to get that super literal. And she again has her little tsu before there for the exclamation, which is an extra emphasis and adds to the delivery. Like I can almost hear how it would sound in voice acting, like if this was an anime or something. Unfortunately, I'm not a voice actor in any language, so if I try to do the voice acting, it's going to get it all wrong, so I can't do it myself. All right, so have courage come out, literally. Make courage come out. Bring out your courage is how that goes. Or just be brave is how we could do that easily. Super NES, Edward. All right, that's wrong. J2E, be brave. Like, it's a command in a way that feels like it's like a feminine command. I could totally just hear a woman, a girl yelling this to like someone else. Then J2E, be brave. Naming way, be brave, my love. My love is technically not in there, but we'll skip it. Now, Edward responds. It doesn't say Edward up there to avoid using too much text space, but it says Anna. So Anna. The Super NES says Anna, question mark exclamation. J2E just says Anna. So he's taken aback, so he stumbles with his words in Japanese, but we don't have that originally in J2E. Originally, it was in there. So there's a kind of a backward step on J2E's side. This might be J2E has hit 0. On that little stutter that they removed. They like kind of bashed themselves in the head a little bit. So let's see what's good for this one. All right. It's so minor, but this is such an important scene, as we'll see. Naming way, Anna, question mark, exclamation. All right, those are all good. Those ones are. Like, she should be dead now. All right, so this text box from Anna now fills out the entire text box. You can say so much in this in Japanese, but you will struggle. It's almost like a puzzle game to get all that into English and to fit in there. So what we'll see is, Anata wa anata ga omotteru hodo yowaku nai wa. So you aren't as weak as you think. That's how that works. Super NES, ... Fight Edward. take that off. That's not right. Oh, my stomach is gonna rumble in the near future. There it goes. J2E says, you're not as weak as you think you are. And again, I was mentioning this final wa. This final wa has a feminine touch to things, emotional a lot. It's get lost in translation just because of how translation works. J2E says, you're not as weak as you think you are. Used to say something else. You're not all that weak.
I think there's a change for the better.
And then Namingway says, you are strong. Yeah, like I said, you have to fight for that space, that text space in there. I don't blame them for phrasing it that way. But the nuances and all the delivery, all that stuff is just so missing. There's like warmth in this line that I feel in Japanese that I don't really feel from the rest. But it's okay. Alright, so I get to fight again. I think nothing happens until I fight, right? Or does it just like occur over time? I kind of want to just sit here and see what happens. Alright, I think I do have to hit him. Right. We'll try attacking again. This is sort of a scripted battle. I think technically this enemy has like 4,000 HP. And it's a very specific weird number in Japanese. Or I mean, it's a very weird specific HP number. And whenever you see that as a translator, it's like, is this like a secret word? Is this like one of those secret number words? Oh man, I'll have to talk about that on a separate day, but the Japanese language lets you hide words in numbers, and you can just use numbers to do words. And that's how they would use pagers back in the day, for example. And so a lot of these enemies will have weird HPs or weird MPs, and they will have secret Japanese meanings. And we'll see those later. Alright, so we attacked the water hag. And now Anna is now saying, Jibun no shinjiru no yo. So believe in yourself. Exclamation. Super NES actually doesn't have any punctuation, but everyone agrees that it means believe in yourself. I kind of want to be like, wow, I'm going to give... There we go. Yeah, and the One Piece guy, I call him the One Piece guy, oh my gosh. I worked on One Piece for so long. Yeah, I'm gonna be casual about it. This guy, you know his name. He loves his number puns. Boy, it was hard to do some of that kind of number fun he would do. Okay, let me go here. So believe in yourself. And then she disappears. So Anna's spirit disappears, and then Edward gets the will to fight. He says, "Yatte miru yo, Anna. I'll give it a try and see." Anna, or like, I'll give it a shot. Alright, so Super NES, because of the weirdness of everything, now just says, and to be strong. This was like a continuation of the previous line, so... Wait a minute. Okay, I will take this off, because this is now Gilbert talking, but Super NES still has Anna talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of neat to have her talking while she's disappeared.
I liked that.
That is kind of neat, yeah. But it's wrong, so... Alright, then we get, I'll do it, Anna, from J2E. The idea is that I'll try. He's not sure. He's not sure if he can do it. He's like, I'll try. I'll give it a shot, Anna. So I'll do it, Anna is a little more direct and like, certain than I would like. Watch me, Anna, is what it used to be in J2E. Both of them are kind of weird. Alright. Naming says, I'll try. That one's pretty good. That one's like the most closest to the nuance out of all of these. Like, he's gonna try. Like, her encouragement has given him enough of the courage to put himself out there and try. Try to be strong. Try to be better. Alright. So I'm gonna have to fight and kill this guy one more time. Alright, this is scripted, so now he dies. I have to pause it here for a little while. Well, first we'll say he has a death scream in Japanese. So, gu pe 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 is how this water monster dies. Gu pe pe pe. It's very memorable and stands out. It's not a normal at all sound.
Kind of sounds like he's gurgling and drowning.
Yeah, something like spitting something. I'm not really sure. In Super NES, that just became ARG. J2E. ARG. Naming me Grug. All right, so I have to pause it here for a little bit because there's a little bit of a discussion I need to make. And that is in Japanese entertainment. Like as we've seen, they put a lot of work into their dialogue, and they put all kinds of nuances and implications, and it kind of all hides down in there, and you don't see it unless you know Japanese really well. And that's one thing. But when it comes to anything else, anything kind of like secondary text, translators will, for whatever reason, historically, they'll either like disregard it or downplay its importance. So things like laughter sounds, like in One Piece, almost every character has their unique laugh. It was crazy. We had to document all these laughter types, and then I don't even know. I didn't really listen to any of the dubs, so I don't know how those turned out. I don't even know if they paid attention to that stuff. But laughter is super important. It's the way you laugh. People have different laughs in real life, right? And in Japanese writing, they're able to really convey that well. It's not just laughter that kind of happens with. And here we have a death scream. Death scream is another thing where you would just be like, oh, okay, it's doing a death scream. Arg. It's a death scream. Erg. But no, they put a lot of work into those things too. So a lot of these games, especially Final Fantasy games, they have a lot of unique death sounds for enemies. And some of them are memorable, some of them aren't. This one is like one that fans kind of really like. I've heard it called one of the game's 3 great death cries. I think there's a whole lot more. I don't even know what the other 2 are at the moment. I guess I'll find out. Let me write that down. Death screams. I hope no one looks at my notes here and is like, this guy is like, we need to put him in jail, writing these kinds of crazy notes. Okay. Besides like laughter and death screams, there's other kinds of sounds that just I don't know why it is. Maybe translators don't think much about it. Maybe I definitely think maybe translation editors, they don't see the importance in that. They don't see like a lot of the things that the translator will see. So editors will come in and think they're doing a good job cleaning up things where things need to be cleaned up, but it will actually, you're kind of erasing the decoration of the text. It's like if you're washing a birthday cake, you're washing it off.
Oh, gross.
And then you just have the cake left. That's kind of how when editors like really like editors who don't really, or maybe they're new, or maybe they don't know much about stuff, they'll just like, hey, I made this birthday cake and I decorated it my own way. All right, I don't know where else to take this, but there's more to say. Just know that there's even the littlest pieces of text in Japanese entertainment. You gotta care. You gotta care. You can't just go arg as you see here. And this is, and because of that, as Japanese fans love this line, and because they didn't, bring it across in translation, we don't get to enjoy that same fun line. Maybe we wouldn't have found it as funny. Who knows?
It's like an annoying limitation of the English language. You can make all these sound effects over there.
It's fun.
Here.
Yeah, Japanese language is full of sound effect words. It uses it way more than we do in everyday speech. You have to learn all those sound effect words. You kind of get a sense of them over time. So, gu pe 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 pe. That's a famous Japanese quote. You wouldn't know from this simple dumb line.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah. I had a quote. I said a quote a couple hours ago. What was it? These games are riches with glitches, or something like that. So rich with glitch. That could be a good something. All right. So J2E, I'm gonna take this.
Because Arg seems aggressive, like he's about to attack.
I just took one from all because they didn't seem to put in the care on that one.
Okay.
These little things, they do matter. All right. It dies. So he got gold and experience, and he's very happy. He's out there cheering, yay! All right. So at this point, everyone is now in the negatives. We're barely into the game. All right. He leveled up. So we're gonna have a scene right after this, and this scene is also gonna be kind of important and also be, from what I can tell, all translations mess it up in different ways. So it's gonna be a little bit slow going, but I'm gonna go for maybe about 20 to 30 more minutes, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You want me to make dinner?
Oh no.
Okay.
I want to make my sandwich. I gotta get more pickles. No, I think I have pickles. All right, so now we're back in outside. We're in Kaipo. The monster is now gone, and Gilbert looks out at the water, and Anna's ghost is still visible. I don't know where she went before. Maybe she went like behind him for a while. All right, so he's looking at the ghost, and then now Gilbert says, "Anna, Anna," just once. He only says it once. Oh my gosh! Look at that naming way window. Naming way is gonna get wrecked on this one.
Did they mess?
Like I said, they really like all the translations diverge on this one for some reason. This is such a strange, important scene, but people kind of forget it. All right. So he's basically saying Anna, and then he says it in Super NES and then J2E just fine. Then now Anna responds with Girubato, watashi wa soro soro ikanakereba ... And that's Gilbert. And that says, soon I must go ... There's going to be more here. Well, first, let's see how this goes. So in Super NES, Edward Deere ... I must go now, period. We'll say that's all right. And J2E, Gilbert, I must leave ... My time has come ... My time has come is kind of what's implied slightly, but
You're going down there?
no, I'm going to. My time has come. All right, so there's another line here, but the problem is naming way. This entire scene, there's Gilbert and Anna are talking. Let's count all these sentences. 1, 2, 2.5. Let's say that's all one. Okay, so there's 4 sentences in this scene, maybe 5. All of that in naming way just became ... There's no Gilbert's not talking, just Anna says ... So there's a lot missing. So I said there's 4 sentences here. We'll take off 4 here.
All right. Catching up to the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. All right. So she says one more thing, and this is like a really important little piece of lore. All right. She says, I must soon go ... Okina tamashi to hitotsu ni naru tame ni ... So that means in order to become one with the big spirit or a great spirit. It might be a spirit or the spirit, it's hard to say. But she's becoming one with some kind of large spirit. Whether or not there's more than one of those things, I don't know. This does tie kind of in with later at the game, at the very end of the game, when like the dead people, you can talk to them still somehow. They like speak to you through some medium. All these dead people, even she does.
That's spooky.
So, I guess there's like a Ghostbuster style containment system where these spirits go and they never quite go away, and then when you need help, they can speak through anyway. I don't know. I'm just joking there, but alright. So that became nothing in Super NES. The part about becoming one with a great spirit of some sort is completely missing. It's kind of neat to know, like, culturally, something like that. Like, why do they... Like, what happens when people die? What happens when people flash away in Final Fantasy world? It looks like they become one with something bigger. In the Super NES, that's all gone. All that really cool little piece is missing. Okay, J2E. Gilbert, I must leave, my time has come. To become one with an eternal spirit. Eternal spirit. I would not say eternal spirit. I'm gonna take one off on that because it's like a big spirit. Technically, you could probably translate that as great. Big, large, great. Not eternal. Next line. Gilbert says, Anna, icha yada. And that basically means, Anna, I don't want you to go. And this almost feels like the way a child would say it, icha yada. Oh, it shows like how attached and weak he might be. So Anna, I don't want you to go. And then Super NES becomes, Anna, don't go. Don't leave me alone. The part about don't leave me alone is technically an addition, but I don't mind it. Anna, please don't go. Please don't go misses the nuance of icha yada. I would definitely not have a please in here. It says, Anna, no, don't go, maybe, if you really wanted to have an extra word in there. Anna.
And imagine him whining.
Mm-hmm. Alright, those are okay. Again, the naming way is just all messed up here. Now she floats away slowly.
I mean, Anna doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah, so she floats away slowly above the water, like a spooky ghost, but has some final words. In the Super Famicom, she says, Girubato, yuki o dashite, oru beza ni kristalu o watashite wa ikenai, ... Anata wa... Okay, we'll do that sentence first. So that means, Gilbert, be brave, like, bring forth your courage, exclamation. We must not, or you must not, let Golbez have the crystal, or crystals, ... He must not be allowed to have them. So let's see how this works. This becomes Edward, ... Okay, so the part about being brave or have courage is said emphatically in Japanese, but the whole entire sentence is missing in Super NES, so I'm going to take that out. Do not let Golbez have all the crystals. All the crystals. I would just say the crystals. All the crystals. Because that means like we just need to have one. It would be what I would call ideation, where you can give them the idea that you just need to have one. And you could get around the problem. It's a little bit one of those like loopholes. Mm-hmm. This introduces a loophole. I'll let it stand. Also, the ... dots would be really good on this Ikenai because she has worry about Golbez having it. All right, this became Gilbert, be brave in Japanese or J2E. You must not let Golbez gather the crystals. Have or is better. That's fine. This used to be something else. Just formatting differences. So the be brave is in there like that. Golbez not having the crystals is fine. Naming way once again has taken 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences and just become all of that is just ... So if you've been playing naming way, you've been missing out this entire scene. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, we're getting close. All right, there's more to the sentence. Anata wa watashi o aishite kureta wa. So you gave me your love, or you loved me. Like there's a kureru is like the idea that you're giving something. You did it for me. You loved me. You gave me your love idea. That became you loved me in Super NES. You loved me in J2E, and nothing in naming way. All right, we got another. Our final sentence might be this: Kondo wa sono ai o subete no hito ni. So now this time it's. I guess the implication is basically this time it's your turn to give that love to everyone else, to all people. This time, that love to all people. There's no verb technically in there, and that's why it's a little harder for me to translate it there. This time, that love to all people. That became in Super NES. Now give your love to all of your people. I wouldn't say all of your people. I would just say all people. But it works because he technically does have subjects, and that could be another loophole that could be introduced. I don't know what was intended, to be honest. Ooh, I like this. Now give that love to the people of this earth. I wouldn't say of this earth, but that now is really good for the kondo wa. I like that. People of this earth is how they did subete no hito ni. This of this earth would potentially open up another loophole thing. Because we do talk about moons, we talk about the underworld in this game, so it can get arguable, but if anyone's arguing to that depth, then they probably shouldn't even be talking to regular fans. I would have liked ... at the end here. Yeah, saying all the crystals is kind of weird because you would prefer him to have none of the crystals. Alright. Now she disappears. She does her final flash. Don't worry. In Final Fantasy IV, when you die, you show up later anyway. Even if you're still dead, you'll show up later. So that's the rule of this world. Alright, so she has disappeared. Gilbert is left all alone. But he says, Anna, tatakao yo. Demo yuki to itemo ... Alright. So it's saying, Anna, I will fight. Like emphatically. Like double emphatically. But when you speak of courage, even if you ask me to do courage stuff kind of idea, ... But there's a but, and even if, and also there's the word courage is in there.
The scene is making me tear up.
Oh, is it good? Okay. So that means I will, Anna is good. Anna, I'll fight is good. So, again, naming way is just removed like 3 sentences of important dialogue. So 1, 2, 3. We're getting close. Alright, so this part, but demo yuki to itemo. Anna, boku wa doustara inda ... So again, he's being hesitant because he's not sure what to do, and he says, but courage ... Anna, what should I do ... or what would you have me do, or what would you suggest I do? He's still unsure, and he still isn't really sure what to do when she talks about be brave, like bring out courage. He's still uncertain about these things.
He's so lost.
His bravery, the word bravery is really important in this sentence. I would have liked bravery or courage in this sentence. I don't see it in Super NES, I'm gonna take off a point. I would have liked more ... in there, as you can see in Japanese. That became Anna, I'll fight, but courage ... Anna, what should I do? That's the best one of these. Pretty good with J2E. I think it was just formatting, right? Yeah. Alright, and the naming way, as we already saw, is kind of just messed up. Alright, the scene ends. Ta-da!
Man, all of that gone from naming way.
Alright, this is another kind of famous line in Japanese. I touched on it before, but sometimes this comes off as like tone deaf for whatever has just happened in the game. And in Japanese, it's just yosh shuppatsu da. That means all right, let's set out, or let's go, let's set forth. It's in a very like colloquial, just like kind of like not very important phrase. Like you can just kind of say it off the top of your head or whatever. It's like, all right, let's go, everyone, let's do it. Kind of, you wouldn't say this to a king or anything like that. But because it's tone deaf, that's kind of what makes it a little funny in Japanese for Japanese fans. Like terrible things could have happened and suddenly we're cheerful again is the idea. Alright. We'll talk to these old people because they're gonna have some new lines, but then we'll leave. We're gonna end the stream in maybe like 10 minutes, I don't know. Alright, so the old man who was caring for Rosa now says this. Genki ni natte yokatta no. It's good. I'm glad that she became better, or good thing you recovered. It became good that you recovered. I'm glad that you're better. Yeah, like it's like he's feeling like he's glad. I'm glad you recovered. I'm glad you're all better. Mijikai aida daga musume no yona kiga shite na. So it wasn't for a long time, but you started to feel like a daughter to me. That's how that feels. I really like the way that flows, that Japanese line. Like she felt like a daughter to me for that short while is missing from Super NES, so we'll take that out. J2E says, for a short time I almost felt like I had a daughter of my own, so it's in there. Looks like there was just some formatting on J2E. Naming way, that line is missing, so we'll take that out of the points. Then the old man finishes by saying, Mata tachiyote kudasare. He's being polite and he's being old in the way he's saying that. He says, please stop by again sometime. Please stop again. So let's see. Drop by our house when you pass this village. Technically, this when you pass by our village isn't in there, but I don't care. That's fine. He's being real polite. I would have liked the word please in there. Please visit us again in J2E. And then that became drop by again in naming way. Those are all okay. Got that. We'll look at Rosa's stuff in a second here. And we have this old lady who's also in the same house. She was also kind of tending to Rosa while she was sick. And now that Rosa's better, this old lady now says, Anta ga musume-san ga uwagoto de iteita seshiru-san kai. Boy, that pronunciation was bad, but basically saying, so you're the Cecil, Mr. Cecil, that the kind girl was muttering in her delirium, I guess. So you're that Cecil that she was muttering about, kind of. So that became, so you are that Cecil in Super NES. Like the logical connection is a little bit missing because some text got trimmed, but it's okay. I would have liked it to be closer, but it gets the job done for less money, I guess. So J2E. So you're that Cecil who she was calling for. I would have liked muttering rather than calling for, but it's fine. What was this before? Not too different. So you're Cecil. Okay. That's about as far trimmed as it can get, and still keep the implications in there. Again, a lot got ripped out of this naming way, but we'll say it's okay. Then this old lady finishes by saying "Daiji ni shite oyari." So it's full of flavor. This Japanese text here, and it's saying please, or just take good care of her. Take good care of her. In Super NES, take care of her! Exclamation. In J2E, take good care of Rosa! Exclamation. She actually doesn't say Rosa's name, or in any of the versions. Naming way kind of just added it in there. I guess if you just said, so you're Cecil, take good care of her, that would have been pretty weird, because they had already trimmed so much out. Right, there we go. Oh, I accidentally became Rosa.
Oh, we're Rosa now?
Yeah, I accidentally did it. I think all these lines are still the same. I don't think any new text appears. Yeah, this just says put that little girl in your back row. I do something different here. I kind of like, oh yeah, I do this, and then I'll put Cecil here, and then I like to put Gilbert down here, and then I like to stick Yang in there when we get him. We won't get to him today, but that's how I like it to be. Oh, what's her equipment, by the way? Okay, so she's got nothing that we haven't already seen. Maybe she has some magic we can look at real quick. Cure, hold, that. We got slow magic. Okay, nothing important to talk about there. Anything new? I mean, this is the girl that he's talking about. You're now looking at the girl who fell down.
It's funny how in these old RPGs there's no like a continuity update, I guess.
Yeah.
After something big happens.
Alright, I still can't get it to happen. I'll get this thing to happen someday, and then the stream will be officially over at that point. I can't wait to finally figure that out. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna go over here. I don't know if I want to do any more actually. So if there's any newcomers, I apologize that we're just now ending. But if you check out like the last 3 hours, we went through a whole lot. We looked at all of the translation differences and all that. Oh wait, how is everyone's health anyway? Okay, so Gilbert got his health restored, it looks like. That's kind of nice. Rosa looks like she has 78 out of 80 MP. Is there a reason for this? Is that common? That's pretty strange.
Was it what cost 2 MP to even make that happen?
Yeah, maybe she was sick and she didn't get fully recovered.
Oh, we use sight, thank you.
Oh yeah, duh, I'm dumb. Okay, yeah. Okay, we already kind of looked at this. Yeah, I want to save this one for tomorrow. This will be a nice start. This is where we melt this ice. Alright, so let me do a save state here. Well, let me do a fight, because there's some stuff that Rosa has slightly different. Alright, so we're fighting a sandworm. I'm gonna have everyone else just defend. Rosa, in the Japanese version, she has an extra technique that was removed. Okay. That it was removed from the Super NES version and the Easy Type version. And it's called Prayer, Inori, in Japanese. And I think this has various effects. It might be kind of like in Earthbound with Paula, but I think it's mostly just it heals you. I don't know if it does status effects. Yeah. Ooh, yes. Alright, so this is, it's kind of hard to get this to happen. Alright, so the prayer that I just did, that Rosa just did, it didn't work, it failed. So there's a text here that says, Inori wa ten ni todokanakata. This means that the prayer didn't reach the heavens. It didn't make it all the way. The easy type will probably be different because this text got removed. So let's see. Oh, it looks like this text is still in here. I think Inori might have been removed from easy type, but even so, all the spaces were removed from this text, but the text remains intact in the easy type's data. Meanwhile, Super NES just has D because like text will just be like that, and like dumbing out text will be either D or T. Prayer wasn't heard in J2E, prayer unanswered in naming way.
Prayer unanswered sounds like, oh, we heard you. We're just not gonna answer.
Maybe that's the case. You know, it didn't reach the heavens. It's pretty straightforward and clear what's going on. All right, we confused it, but it said charmed in a different. Well, let's see what it does. When you charm enemies in this game, when you confuse enemies in this game, they have different battle scripts sometimes, and they'll do new things. So it's probably going to do a tornado to itself, and one that actually works. Nope. Alright, we'll just kill it.
That looked really funny. The tiny tornado in the sky.
So it either heals you or it doesn't, the Inori. Alright, while we're over here, I'm just going to do it again. Nope. Really like this spell. When I was looking at the disassembly for this spell yesterday, I can make it zoom further back if I wanted. I wonder how far I can make it zoom back without glitching. Alright, we'll save it here. I have to go eat some food now. So tomorrow we're not going to stream, but we will on Thursday. I kind of want to make the Wednesdays like a break day. So it'll usually be like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. So if you want to come in live, bring some questions or something, please do that. If you've missed anything, I have put these all on YouTube almost immediately. Check out my YouTube channel, or you can just watch the Twitch VODs while they're still available on Twitch. If you missed anything today, you can just hop back, probably in real time, just hop back and check out some stuff. We did some cool stuff today. So that's all. Thanks for coming by, everyone, and we'll see you next time in Mount Hobbs. Until then, oh, did I teach you guys a word already? I think I did. So if I did, that's the word. If I didn't, then find the word.
I remember Taki.
Oh, yes. Yahardi? Okay. Yahardi is a good word. All right, see you guys around, everyone. Bye-bye.